Sanchez, we ready? Are we ready? I guess not.
Podcast episode 79.
79.
Cool Brandon, heel Brandon, never has the time. I'm a guy you can call Dave Z, and let's not forget C. How's that?
Wow. I already could tell Neil just stopped listening.
Somebody complained about the singing on the group page. Who was it?
It was Neil.
It was Neil, yeah.
Oh, it was Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neil's out, Marco's in. What can you do? You know, Marco's on the Patreon, so I got to go roll with him. Oh!
Yeah. Sing away.
No, anyway, no more singing for the foreseeable future. Yeah, Dave Z, Christian, Brandon, rock and roll, exploding heads. Here we are, episode 79. We're going to talk about some movies tonight. Some horror movies, that is. 2 full feature reviews and 1 triple R. And we're going to have some fun. Year of the Patron, but this one isn't coming in so strong as some of the other ones that we've done so far and the ones that we're going to do next, because we have our work cut out for us. But we're here for you. So how's everybody doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Life is good. What do you think about my new coffee thing? See, I can actually drink coffee now. And I won't make any noise while I'm doing the show. See, it's one of these Contigos.
It's like a silencer.
Yeah. Well, did you hear me drinking? Because look,
No,
it's flat. See,
thing works.
Mm-hmm.
It's magic. Are they a new sponsor? Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, brought to you by
Drink a Contigo.
Filled with Tim Hortons coffee.
Drinking down in Contigo Bay.
Well, it keeps it hot, That's the gimmick. These things. It keeps it hot for hours or whatever the hell, or cold if you got cold stuff in there. It's a gimmick, but...
every time you do that, though, you got to go, hot coffee coming through.
Every time I take a sip, I got to say that?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of every previous episode when you drank coffee, and nothing comes to mind in terms of you making noise. Like, I don't remember you slurping so loud on the on the regular coffee cups that all of a sudden this silencer is amazing. Like, I don't remember you being like... And now it's like...
I do.
Oh, you talking about Lexington over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm drinking coffee.
I never drank coffee because of that reason. That's what it is. So I guess I phrased it wrong. Because if you have a regular coffee cup, you would hear this. You'd I'd be picking it up, setting it down. It would be sloppy. See, I did that for effect just now. Of course, with the Contigo, I won't be doing. I'm not angry, not at all.
He's slamming the Contigo.
Slamming the Contigo. I like it. Okay, what are we talking about tonight?
The triple R is Bloody Ballet, which was given to us by Jason, right?
That's correct.
Jason Smith.
That's correct.
Jason Smith. That was a film from last year. So, and then we have, I'm not sure who gave us the choice of the 3 Australian films between Storm Warning, Body Melt, and Razorback, but we went with Body Melt because it was the easiest for all 3 of us to get our hands on.
Whew.
And then we have the Pact from 2012.
Yeah, I feel real shitty. Thank you for saying that you don't know who did it, because I usually have these things written down.
Yeah,
And
should have pulled it up. I can't remember who gave us Body Melt or the Pact. Will say this while you guys are pulling it up. These were all repeat watches for me. I had seen all of them, and I would say my opinion has changed on all three from first view, because I think this was my second view for all of them. So some have gone up, and some have gone down. Those are pretty much the only options.
And he just stayed the same?
Some could stay the same.
Well, yeah, I said my opinion changed on all three, so nothing could stay the same.
Oh, true.
I only had seen Body Melt before, and that was way long ago.
I've never seen the features. I've never seen Body Melt or the Pact. I have seen Fantasma / Bloody Ballet last year because it was a newer movie.
It's a cool poster, man. I'll tell you what, that poster art for it is really cool. And I like that alternate title, Fantasma.
Pete's the one that gave us the choice of the three.
You're correct. And Mark gave us the Pact.
Pete Lacono? Is it or is it an I? Is that an IA?
I think it's I. I think it's Iacano.
Oh, Iacano. That makes more sense.
Man, you just knocked that pronunciation out of the park.
Yeah, Mark Latham, Pete Iacano, and of course we've already alluded to Jason Smith, our homie, Sinister Cinema, as well as In the Mic of Madness. So, boom.
Iacano, that doesn't sound Australian.
I'll tell you what,
I
rented Storm Warning because I thought for sure you guys were going to pick that. And I actually never had seen that one before. I still haven't watched it yet, but I have it. I got it from Netflix on disc. Razorback, for some reason, I don't think it's easy to find.
It's not.
No, and I have seen Storm Warning before, but I just didn't know if it was rentable. So I didn't know if I don't have a copy of it.
Yeah, that was going to be like my choice, that one. But once we,
I wanted to.
But once we decided on the ease, I mean, Body Melt was right on Prime.
Right,
and,
that's the answer.
You know, but
it was on Prime as well? I watched it on Tubi TV.
Oh, yeah, Tubby, or Tubi, yeah, they have it too. Yep.
Tubby, what'd you call me?
You Tubby bastard. Oh, shit. So, yeah, I've only saw one before, but we'll get to it. So, yeah. You know what? I guess we should talk about it now. We don't want to jump right into the first review, do we?
No. Let's ease up to it.
You know what I'll do for fun? I've been teasing this.
Oh, Fangoria back issues? We're doing the Fangoria back issues segment right now?
Yeah. We're not doing that. No, sorry. Not just yet.
Oh, you're a hull of fucker.
That's okay. I can face it. You know, I can admit it, and we're going to... we're at war now. We're at war with Jeremy. Not 22 shots, just Jeremy. So, and that's okay. Google Voice. No, it wasn't Google Voice. It was a message sent to our thing. See, because I remember I've teased this the last few shows. Somebody sent us messages on the...
to Brandon, right?
To Brandon.
Yeah,
pertaining to Brandon.
I've been wanting to hear this bullshit for like 2 episodes now.
I have no idea what's going on right now. I'm nervous.
It's like a regular show for you.
What an asshole. What a tubby asshole.
Thought I lost weight.
No, you look good. You look good. I'll tell you what, while you're looking for it, I hit up Monster Mania last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice convention.
Did you?
I went down there.
This.
Yeah, I went down there I was only down there for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I went with a buddy. Actually met up with Matt, Matt Cantor, who's one of the hosts on Cinema Attack. Yeah. He's a good buddy. So, he went for the whole weekend because he had like a 4.5 hour drive. So we met up, and it was really cool meeting him and his wife, Tanya. And, hung out, bought some movies.
That's awesome.
Wasn't really interested in any autographs this year. There were a lot of people there, though. They had a craft reunion. Every girl from the craft was there.
Oh, that was the one. Son of a, you lucky suckers in New Jersey, dude.
Feruza was there. Rachel.
Oh, did you?
Rachel True.
My girls. Oh.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what. Matt posted pictures. I'm not sure if he posted in just a private group that I'm in, or if he posted them on Facebook. But man, they look good. They all look good.
Oh man.
That's not the one that Nev Campbell was at, was it?
Yeah, Nev was there.
Yeah, she's one of them. That's out of control. I wish I would.
Christina Ricci was there.
Oh, did you see her? I saw his picture today with Christina Ricci. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. She looks like a doll. Oh
yeah, she
man.
looked. I saw that picture too, and she looks fantastic. But no, she was upstairs. Sometimes they give. They're spread thin with their venue. They need to get a bigger venue, but they put some of the stars upstairs in like their own private areas,
away from the riff.
Damn. Oh man, I wish I would have freaking. Man,
I'm crazy. I would never pay anybody for their autograph.
You know what, though? I'll tell you this. I used to feel the same way, and I only probably have about a half a dozen autographs between, like, maybe a half a dozen conventions I've been to. And all experiences in terms of meeting the celebrities, everyone's been super nice. The only reason why I don't feel like I want to get all these autographs is sometimes I have nothing to say to people. Like Tom Atkins, like I brought up the Ninth Configuration to, because I love that movie, and he looked at me like I had three heads, and he starts yelling at me. He's like, what's with this movie? He's like, my nephew just brought this movie up to me saying he wants me to rewatch it. He was like, he was basically yelling at me that I brought up this movie versus, talking about.
I think he's yelling at you for more money because you talked to him for more than 30 seconds. It's like, insert another dollar.
Insert.
And what's his name from Devil's Candy? Ethan Embry.
I remember you telling us that he was good.
And I screwed up on that one because he even said he was so cool. We were talking for a little while, and he even said to me, he's like, reach out and I'll come on and we'll do an interview, because I told him about the podcast, and I was a fucking idiot. I should have reached out.
And we've had this discussion on the show before, and we said you could still do it. Reach out.
I don't even know.
Hey, remember me? I was at that horror convention 2 years ago. You said to reach out.
Yeah. Remember me?
Oh, dude. You should have just got Feruza and Rachel, man. You should have talked to them to freaking be interviewed on the show, because they never talk. Well, I saw Rachel recently on Horror Noir.
Yeah.
Boy, props. Oh, yeah. That was great. And
great horror documentary, and a lot of love for Blackula in that film.
Yes, absolutely. Great stuff, man.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry.
Horror Noir. It's a Shudder documentary.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I didn't. I don't know if my headphones are kicking out, and I didn't hear the name of it. So cool.
I think
well, check it out. Did you see Ashley on there? Huh?
He's making fun of me.
I was making jokes saying I'd like to kick you out.
Yeah.
Meaning Christian.
Nice. Did you notice Ashley Blackwell was on there? B? They spoke to her a lot. That's our friend from Girls Will Be Ghouls. I mean, that podcast isn't around anymore, but you've heard me mention her a few times. She's actually rated our podcast on iTunes back in the day, and she's
nice.
Yeah, that's her. I didn't know she was behind it. She was one of the writers. She was the voice behind all this that got it started, and she. I heard that they mentioned her on Shockwaves, because Rachel and someone else were on Shockwaves the weekend it opened, and they said shout out to Ashley Blackwell, and I was like, what? I did a double take. I said, really? And then I come to find out that it's her. She was on the camera and everything, and it's crazy. That's what blew me away. So I had a message.
That's awesome, because that documentary was fantastic, really well done.
Yes. Oh yeah, everybody should see it. You definitely got to see it. You have Shudder, so I know you do. So. Yeah. Yeah, get on that. Okay, so I found it. I had to go to an original a picture, because I put it on the group page. By the way, get on Facebook and get on our group page, Exploding Retro Movie Podcast, and you'll see what's up here. But I posted the picture because
unless you're Russian.
Russian or squiggly lined.
No, you can be Russian. I'm kidding. You can be female in Russian.
That's true. Yeah, we don't need Nikolai Volkov on there. That's true. So
this is our Ancient Russian segment, just for everybody out there.
We got to piss everybody off eventually. That's the goal, We had a text message sent to us, and I don't know why, because we have our phone number thing. You can call in.
We still have that?
It does still work. Although the last 2 or 3 people that tried to call, I hung up on them accidentally, and then I think I screwed it up. But I'll put it out there. It's 773-312-5378. Somebody call and let's see if it still does work correctly. But anyway.
We don't even test it.
No. We had a voice message sent to us somehow. It said new text message. Oh, no, wait. It says from that number. I'm sorry. I think that's the person's number that sent it to. I don't even know.
What a fucking train wreck this segment's starting into.
What do you mean? This whole season so far, it's a train wreck.
I love it. It's great.
I do too.
I can't look away.
Right. I hope not. Don't look away, please, and stay online, please.
Yeah.
Don't just look at yourself. You'll be happy. We know all about it because you're so vain. Okay. So he sent us a message. This person sent us a message. And it was to this thing, which I didn't even know it could get messages, but it went right to an email. And I posted this on the group page. And it said, and I quote, "Fuck me for 50." That's what it said.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Remember that?
Or girl.
Yeah, I remember that. 50 what?
50 what? The thing is, was he trying to say he wants to give us 50? Or, he wants us to give him 50? So anyway, I messaged him.
You did?
I messaged him. Yes.
For clarity.
I messaged him and I said, I forgot what I said because that part's not coming up, but he got back to me, or she, or whatever. And they said, "Who's this?" And I said, "You contacted us first. Who's this?" And his response was, "That was in December." This was February 9th, okay? That was in December. Okay, and I said, "Very good, that's correct. So what?" That's what I said. And then he said, "Don't know how you look."
What?
Yes, that's what he said. "Don't know how you look." And I said, then why did you send that message? And then he's corrected me again, back in December. I'm like, okay, December, all right. So I said, "Oh, so you forgot what we looked like from December?" I said. And he said, "Yes." So I said, "Look us up on our Facebook page." And he said, "What's the name?" And I said, "Aren't you a fan of the podcast?" I said, it's how you contacted us, Exploding Heads. And he said, "No."
What the fuck is this?
I don't know. I went back and forth with him for fun. And then he said, "No." And I said, "Then how did you get this number?" And then he says again, "Don't know. It was December." Oh, God. And I said, "Oh, you really don't have a very good memory." And I said,
This coming from you.
I said, "Oh, boy, you really don't have a good memory." Yeah, this coming from me. And I said, "Speaking of boy, what are you? Are you a male or a female?" I said. And he said, "Man." And I said, "Oh, okay."
Click.
Well, we are not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Two of us are.
Two of us are American? Is that what you said?
Two of us are married, I said.
Oh, two of us are married.
And American.
Yeah.
And then I said, maybe Brandon is in the closet, so you may have a shot there. He's probably the best looking of the three of us, too. And that's the last thing I said, and that's how it ended. So I told you, Brandon, that I gave you props for being good looking, and that's what I said to this person. So
that was very nice of you, because I think we're probably the most handsome podcast out there.
Oh, for sure. Now,
yeah, like it's not even close.
Yeah. And horophilia, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look at 22 shots. That's just 3 mongoloids on a mic.
Mongoloids.
It's like if Jason Voorhees was podcasting.
That's Bloody Bits you're doing, right?
Yeah, that was Jason Lloyd, if anyone didn't know.
So, Brandon, I said you were handsome. I threw him a bone, and I was hoping he was going to, bite, and then, I don't know, maybe he saw you and you weren't his type. Not that you were interested, but I was trying to keep the conversation going because the guy was such a goofball. Why would you text us and say, "Fuck me for 50"? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but...
Russian. Gotta be Russian.
Gotta be Russian. So, yeah. So that's that. Are you ready?
Well, not if we're going to keep doing that segment.
Are you going to bring him out now? Do you have him there tied up in your red dungeon?
Yeah, he's tied up, yeah.
We're going to fuck for 50.
Here's Nikolai, hogtied.
Nikolai. Okay.
For the foreseeable future, huh?
I'm going to
5
put
minutes
this
later,
in
he's
you.
singing that. I love it.
That segment went over
jokes.
like friggin' what's his name? Ja Rule at 90s night. Holy shit. Did you guys see that thing? Did you guys see Ja Rule when he did that 90s night thing on fucking for the NBA?
No.
Oh, dude, it's great. He freaking went up on this thing and he does this thing and he freaking, it's on YouTube. And he says, this just recently happened, like the last month. And he was on something at halftime, and like the crowd didn't care that he was there at all. And he was like, "Are you ready?" And there was like no response at all. And then he goes, "Are you ready?" And he held the note real long, and then nobody did nothing. And he goes, "Guess not." Oh, hold on. I should just play it. It's only like 30 seconds.
This is gonna be a "You Just Broke My Glasses."
Yeah, it's great, dude. Hold on, check it out.
They said this is 90s night, so they brought out a 2000 artist. But my album came out in 99, so I guess that counts. Sanchez, we ready? Are we ready? I guess not.
They sounded ready.
They did kind of sound ready, considering that was a pretty good reaction for someone like Ja Rule.
You know what I think it was? I might have been mistaken. I think maybe it wasn't the crowd. I think he was talking to like his people, like his what the grips or whoever the fuck helps him out on stage. You know what I mean? The sound. I don't know who else could it have been. I figured it was the crowd, but
is there a video of it?
Yeah, there's a video of it.
I'll have to check it out.
Him. Yeah, you got to check it out. Are you ready?
The shit that you find funny drives me crazy.
You don't find that funny?
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I find that funny or if I find the fact that you find it funny. I think I'm laughing more at the fact that you're laughing at it than I'm laughing at it. But either way, I'm laughing. So
I can spread joy, whatever it takes. That's fine. I'm happy to do it.
And speaking of Ja Rule, he was just recently in that. I mean, there's a documentary on Netflix called Fire about that Fire Film Festival.
Oh.
Remember that thing from a couple of years back that turned out to be a total shit fest, and he was one of the main attractions, and he was like partners with the head guy for a while promoting it.
He got in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
that thing not in Belize, but it was down on an island somewhere or something?
Yeah, they said they had bought Pablo Escobar's island when they didn't buy an island, and then they got moved to like a resort, and they set up tents, and they were basically selling it like a luxury event, and it turned out to just be an absolute shit show that they had to cancel and send everyone home. Yeah, amazing. But it's a really good documentary. It's on Netflix called Fire. Check it out.
I think we'll be talking about a couple more documentaries later when we talk about what we watched, if we get to that, because otherwise...
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll see. I don't know. We're talking a lot about it, a lot of nonsense now, so maybe we should move on.
We've been avoiding these movies for some reason.
Well, what should we do first? Should we... we'll do the Triple R in the middle, and we'll do... okay, let's do the... I was going to call it the Bad Batch. Let's call Body Melt. I don't know why I called it the Bad Batch. But...
Wait, are you guys ready?
Brandon's supposed to say, I guess not. Because I know he's not.
No, I'm ready. I actually got it up. That's the first one I pulled up. I figured we'd do that first.
Ooh, hey, see, we're in sync after all. Okay.
All right. So let's get right into it. Body Melt from 1993, written and directed by Philip Brophy. Brophy? Residents of peaceful Pebbles Court, Holmesville, are being used unknowingly as test experiments for a new body drug that causes rapid body decomposition and painful death.
In the most random series of scenes thrown together to make a movie.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. This is like the Australian answer to Street Trash, but Street Trash was kind of filled with like colorful characters who melted in colorful goo. Sorry.
I've never seen Street Trash.
What?
Whoa.
That's one. Yeah, it's weird because I'm always thinking of like popular films that I haven't seen. There's one right there.
Dude.
And I own it. I bought it, but I
really?
Didn't watch it, so I'll get on that. But I don't know what it is.
Great dialogue in that movie.
I think it has something to do with Australian cinema. It's just Peter Weir is one of my favorite directors, and he's an Australian director, but I don't know. This just I know it's a satire on these it's not really a pharmaceutical company. This Vimuville, it's more of like a vitamin supplement company, and I know it's supposed to be satirical, but it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out on the humor because I can't understand what they're saying, even with the subtitles on. In fact, I noticed even with the subtitles on, some of the dialogue doesn't come up because they can't translate it.
Yeah, inaudible.
Because they're like, ah.
Yeah, but the effects, you got to give it to the
Australia,
effects.
but
The effects are nasty, man.
The effects are gross. Yes. They're gross, but they're kind of sloppy. And, well, there's a couple of good ones. But I thought I was watching the director's cut, yet it always felt like it was cutting away for, like, the money shot, more or less. One of the examples I would say is, like, when the guy gets that super boner.
Exploding penis.
And it blows, but it just splatters against the TV. Right. There's a lot of cutaway things like that. Another guy looks like he's about to have an exploding head to cut away and only hear a sound effect.
You're right. Those two instances, 100%. But we did see everything else. But you're right. Maybe they didn't want to show a dick, is what it came down to in the one. But
when the pregnant lady
Unlike
blows,
us, we're not afraid to show a dick. Clearly, look at the live feed right now.
Waka.
There he goes. I'm glad you're back, B. I'm glad you're in high spirits again.
No, I am. This is a strange one. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like a trauma film, honestly.
It is like a trauma film. I want to laugh at it, but I don't know what's funny in it.
But sometimes they're playing it straight, and then sometimes there'll be like a big, huge bodybuilder guy come up and start talking like Mickey Mouse, and you're like, is that his real voice, or were they making a joke there?
That's like one of like the jokes that I think I got. Like, I'm saying to myself, okay, that's a joke. Like, this guy's clearly taking this supplement. It's like a steroid. He's jacked, but he sounds like a woman.
Yeah, I guess, but the other guy didn't sound like a woman. So I don't know.
And the story structure is so bizarre. So you follow like one guy who gets in a horrible car accident, only then to like the neighbors, the two boys down the street are leaving for the weekend. So then they leave, and then we follow them, and we're on their trip for a bit, and then they go meet these backwoods people who happen to be all tied in with like the originators of the drug.
That was actually a cool little twist that the backwoods father turned out to be the doctor's partner who actually had the additive that would have made the drug safe.
Yeah, I did like that.
I like that because he talks about how he wasn't afraid to at least test it out on himself and his family, evidently. That's why they were all freaking mongoloids.
Right. I thought maybe they were inbreds, but no. It was
No, did he say keep it in the family at one point?
I was kind of attracted to the daughter.
Did.
I was kind of attracted to the daughter.
In a weird way, I could see how somebody, like when he did that, I could see that happening. In a weird way,
right?
There is a strange attraction there.
What?
Right. I'm not lying.
She looked like one of the people under the stairs.
I know, but she did. You're right. And I still liked her.
There was something where I could see that happening. I'm not saying if I saw her walking the street, I would look at her and be attracted. Not at all. Quite the opposite. But for her role in this film and for what our characters were presented with, Mr. Gino Argento, by the way, that was the guy's name. What he was presented with, I could see wanting to break one off because he's young. You know, at that age, you sleep around a little bit.
Definitely not letting her give me a love bite, though.
No,
that's crazy that you thought that.
How funny was it? How funny was it when he throws the rock at the kangaroo and it's clearly a stuffed animal that falls down?
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
But it was so random because the film stops dead for this. And you don't even know why we're here for that long.
Right, yeah. We don't.
But it works. Like the movie clicks along. It's just so bizarre. I don't even know really what the plot is, other than like they're trying to make this new health drug and it's making people melt.
Yeah, they're doing all different things to people in the same cul-de-sac.
Yeah, they're experimenting on the people of Pebbles Court to see how their new drug is working. What doesn't make sense to me, and I guess that's where the satire is the fact that everything is going like so shitty, yet there's no attempt to cover it up or to stop it immediately.
That's because so few people are in on it. You know what I mean? It's just them, and they're the only ones that know anything's going on. When the shit hits the fan, it hits the fan, but they're trying to fix it. Because remember, at one point they say, so-and-so took too much. Or no, not took too much. They said one was too much and one was too little. Remember they said that at one point? They said the pregnant girl had too little, and the guy that went through that crash in the beginning had too much, or the drugs affected them too much or too little.
Yeah.
They were trying to perfect the dosage and something else, and they had a couple isolated incidents which happened to be there, and I mean they knew that people were onto them, so now they're still trying to fix it, but at the same time they're still greedy, and I don't know, it is very muddled. There's a lot going on,
but
there really is.
Obviously they knew it was tongue in cheek because it was called, like, I think their production company was called Dumb Films.
True,
Dumb Films Presents, and like there's like that when he turns to the husband of the bride or of the pregnant lady, who has one of the good gore effects, and his face is all googly. Looks like Cookie Monster, but with like an open face. And then that guy grabs his ear, and then it cuts back to him, and he's trying to, isn't he trying to talk on the phone, but then he has to switch to the other side.
Yeah, because his ear's gone.
His ear was gone. So there are some good moments like that.
That wasn't the husband of the pregnant woman. That was the first subject. That was Paul, the one who was at the airport hallucinating with the chick.
Yes.
You know what, dude? Right. I kept getting those two characters confused. I had an issue with that. They looked alike.
Maybe I did
the
too.
Husband's the one who's at the end at the police station.
Right. But I was getting confused with those two characters. It was going back and forth. They looked a lot alike, and I was like, wait a minute. It took me until the third act to realize, because the movie was confusing as it is because the way it jumped around. I mean, maybe confusing is the wrong word. It was just, I don't know. Would you guys consider it confusing? It was just...
It was a little bit all over the place.
Jumbled.
It was jumbled. It was confusing in its structure.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, the structure was what made it confusing that way. And then when you add on top of it two characters that look alike, it was just, it was like, okay. By the time the third act got here, I was like, okay, now I see what's going on. But I know it was weird. How come in the beginning, though, when the first guy came into the friggin', he came into that gas station, and he was asking about, what was he asking for?
Detergent.
And he started bugging out and running. And then the guy said, he goes, why can't you just get some fucking sleep? He told him. What does that have to do with it?
He thought he was like a druggie, like tripping out or something. But it was crazy. Like, you thought he would. I wonder if that did anything. It would have been funny if it turned out that the detergent was like the additive, because he took the detergent like it was going to do something.
Exactly, and they never explained that. So it's just a random, crazy scene.
He knew he was injected at that point, and something was happening. But he drank the detergent, like maybe it delayed it, so he did make it to Pebbles Court. He just unfortunately crashed.
But also, there's no climax. The movie just kind of ends.
Well, it's weird when you know the other woman in charge. You know, you got Dr. Carrera and you got the woman Shan, whatever her name is, who's like the promoter and running the health spa, and her death is pretty nasty. But I mean, you don't really see it. You see the after effects with our just basically our heads imploded and melted on the desk. But what was she taking the drug for?
Everybody seemed to be taking the drug,
but the
doctor.
Yeah, which is weird. It's almost as if, yeah, they should have had more of a climax with the doctor being behind it and stuff like that, but they didn't, because he just kind of offs himself.
The movie felt like they ran out of money or something at the end, and they kind of just had to end it.
Yeah.
Well, they did have that big tongue thing at the end, which was
the big tongue. Yeah, but then they never showed the daughter getting killed. They never showed one of the young boys getting killed. I did like when the sister said to her brother Brandon, I hope you break your neck, and that's of course he falls and breaks his neck.
Oh yeah, on the skateboard. Oh,
yeah.
I forgot to say that when the show opened. Because there's a line in the movie, and he says, and that little brat there is Brandon, they said.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that when we started the show, but I sang instead. Damn it. That was it.
Singing always wins. Yeah, but that kid, that like when he landed, like his face was like that. Like that's not going to happen from a fall, from like where he fell from.
Mm-mm. It's not from the fall. It's from the chemical. At first he went down, because I made note of that. I was like, why would he still be laying there just because he fell on his face skateboarding? But remember, his family just got there earlier, and they all sampled the food. Remember, they were having different things?
Yes.
Because I had to have a reason why he would have that reaction from a fall. So that I noted. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, they all ate. But back to what you said about the girl. Why was she taking it? Because she was part of the marketing team. She was running it. She was all about it. This is vitamins. This is healthy. This is this and that. And we had these bodybuilder types. They come here. It's what was it called? Not Vimeo. It was called something with vitamin in it, or Vim, whatever.
Tenafly Viper.
What?
Tenafly.
That's freaking street trash. Yeah.
How was the drug called? Vimuville was the name of the place.
Okay, either way, Vimuville. So that was the
A59.
A24?
A59. A59. Yeah, A59, I think.
All right. Either way, it was Vitamin or Viminin, whatever the hell it was called.
Vimuville.
Viminin Janes. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Vimuville. So I could see why she would take it because she's drinking the Kool-Aid. She's in on it. She thinks everything's okay. There was an issue with the dosage, but I think that they were hooked before that shit was even happening. Because obviously the bodybuilder guys, remember, they were hooked on it because they kept trying to get the freaking A24 or whatever the hell it's called. Whatever. Remember, he kept saying, this shit's too weak. I need to
give me some of that Hereditary.
Oh, man. It was something, you know. Because remember that dude was switching them? So everybody that worked there was also taking these pills in one form or another. So I think it makes sense. The doctor's not because he's unconvinced. You know what I mean? You know, the doctors, they always know more than everybody else. They're always like a little weary, like, I don't know.
No, what are you talking about? They go to school for like 15 years and they know nothing about anything.
Well, they know enough not to put it out yet.
Not to communicate, anyway.
It's not ready yet. That's what always happens in these movies. Somebody designs something, some type of drug, and other people get their hands on it and they're greedy and they want to market it right away. And the doctor's always saying, you know, it's not ready yet. We still have to do more tests. We have to do more of this. We've seen this so many times. But in this case,
I'm still trying to find out the name of the.
I know. I was looking for it too, but I like A24.
A59. They definitely. I wrote it down here. I don't know why I wrote it down there.
why did that guy sit on that fat guy and bug out so much about it? Remember, he went to the freaking place, and that's the only time you saw that guy. There was a porno being played at that place, and he came in and he sat down. And he was like, "Oh!" And all of a sudden, he realized he was sitting on a fat guy, and he ran out. and We never saw that guy again. Did you notice that part?
I think it was just like their comedy in the movie.
I guess.
Honestly, Australians need Paul Hogan. If Crocodile Dundee's not in the movie, it's not a fucking comedy.
Well, he saw the effects that these people were going through. I mean, whether it was a combination of inbreeding plus the drugs. I mean, he evidently, the father, took the drugs. He said it. He experimented on himself. But, you know, to imply that everyone else just looked that way because of inbreeding was a little confusing.
Yeah, it was, to say the least.
To say the least. We pretty much said the least.
I'm just trying to figure out, is Pete Iacano Australian? Or did he give us all Australian movies?
Yeah, they were all Australian. Storm Warning and Razorback are Australian.
Pete, are you Australian? Please let us know.
Hey guys, it's great to be on board. Love listening to the pod. It's great for my commute to work. The banter is classic. Here you go. Pick any of these three. If you're glutton for punishment and interested in the history of exploitation cinema, check out Not Quite Hollywood. You know what? He doesn't actually say he's Australian.
He is. He's Australian because he's a free spokesman. I did look them up. Sutherland, New South Wales, Australia. So that's why. Okay, so he did give us, and that's good. Represent the freaking, that's what you got to do. That's your hometown. That's your freaking. That's it.
Your hometown. Australia is my hometown. Fucking Americans. It's not a continent or anything. It's just it's a town.
The town of Australia.
From the town of Australia. My street's Perth.
Melbourne Court you live in?
I like that. I like it. I like how they give us three choices. I wish every Patreon would give us three choices because it's fun that way, Because they never know what we're going to pick and everything else. But either way, they're all Australian. That's cool with me. Yeah, Razorback. Wait, Razorback? Isn't that Arkansas? Nah, whatever.
No, it's Australia. This movie has a lot of snot, but for a movie called Body Melt, there's not a lot of body melting.
She melted. He was melting at the end, but there was a lot of exploding penises, exploding stomachs.
Yeah, there's exploding stomachs and there's a couple of good effects. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted more meltation. I guess, placenta. Yeah, that's true. Killer tentacle placenta. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was good shit. The first kill was great.
Killer placenta would have been a better name.
Oh, for sure. Anything with placenta, and I'm sold. Absolutely. Man. for a title. Shit. But in the beginning, when the guy has the slit throat, that looks freaking great. And he crashed through, and then those tentacles came out of his throat and started going up his nose. That was a great freaking way to start the movie. I didn't know what the hell was happening here. I thought it was going to be something like a. It ended up becoming more Troma-esque, but when it began, I thought you were looking like a Cronenberg type thing.
Well, I could see that, like more body horror that way. I'm still kind of disturbed that Brandon was attracted to the daughter. I gotta tell you.
I was also attracted to the girl at the airport in beaten form.
Oh man, he's a heel.
He's a heel.
That's all I can say. He's a heel.
It's a weird. It's a hard film for me to talk about because, like, I guess people enjoy this film for the humor of it, and I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, there's some good effects in it.
I didn't find it that funny though. That's
the thing. I didn't find it that funny. It was actually kind of nasty and gross and
like
and it's actually pretty mean spirited. But Troma has like the comedy to it. Even if you don't find Troma funny, you get it because for us it's American comedy.
That's the difference.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I'm misinterpreting some comedy here.
I think so. How about the adrenaline or the adrenal gland? How did those guys know that was an adrenal gland? Remember when they killed the kangaroo and it went over? Those other guys go over there, the family members, and the two Italian kids go over there and they say, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Because they see it at first they kill the kangaroo for no reason. Then they start digging at it and then they pick the thing up. They go, "Oh, the adrenal gland." Okay, like that was common practice.
They're sons of the doctor, Dr. Pud.
I'm just trying to think of when the one Italian guy decides to make a run for it and try to escape, and he gets the keys of the car and realizes the car just goes in a circle, so he can't escape. It's kind of terrifying because it's very almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre for that one segment, but it's like a fish out of water segment to the movie. They do bring it back, obviously, in the storytelling, but it's so bizarre the way the story unfolds.
Yeah, the comedy in that is really that Pud turns out to be the smartest one because he was a former doctor who actually knew how to make the drug, work properly. He had the additive at the end. I mean, he even showed it to him, the red vial. That's why everybody was going nuts and exploding, and because this drug wasn't in it. It's almost like he sabotaged Dr. Carrera intentionally.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. There wasn't like enough there to they should have built on the story more rather than just it being a showcase of effects.
Why live that way? If you have the answer, why are they living that way and like freaking, scumbags?
Scumbags.
Like scumbags.
Well, you know what I mean? They were gross. They were freaking sitting
Not
there
according to Brandon. What's the fucker left right?
Hey, Dave agreed with me. There was something about her.
There was something about her. I'll give
Why
you
the
that.
long face?
Why the long face? She had a huge freaking chin, man.
Oh, she looked like Ash when he was like trying to like wiggle his face back to normal.
She did.
Oh, you're right. Oh man.
I gotta tell you though, as batshit crazy as this is, and as all over the place the story is, you gotta check it out. There's a curiosity to it. Like, I actually kind of have to recommend people to see it, at least to watch it once.
I feel like it has a huge cult following. I feel like it has a huge cult following.
People do like it. As a matter of fact, somebody just who the hell was it? Was
Mike
it NFW or someone out of the? You're right. It was was it Mike and
Mike and Derek did it.
Yeah, they did a cinema attack. Cinema
attack special. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, I believe Derek made a joke that Dave, you and Christian were Sal and Gino. meaning you got the love bite, Dave.
It would have been me. Slim Pickens at the time. Yeah, sure. The love bite. Nice. Love bites. Love bleeds.
Why do you feed this to him?
Well, that's what she said. She said you want a love bite, and then she bit his throat out.
Oh man, it's an unforgettable movie. I can tell you that. I think I said this last show. We were talking about some things. Dry Blood, I said it about. That you're gonna look back at that title one day, and you might rate it a 6 out of 10 or something. And there's a lot of movies you might rate that way, given the format of the show, and we have. But when you look at that title, even though you weren't a fan of it like as much as I was, you'll look at and you'll see that title, Dry Blood, and you won't forget what it was. That's what separates it. This movie too, Body Melt. You're not gonna forget Body Melt. You've seen it. You may not love it. You may not rate it high using, if you're grading a film, but you're going to remember it. So I can see it.
And it's only gaining in popularity now, especially since it just got a release from Vinegar Syndrome a few months ago.
And it's on Tubi TV for free, and it's on Amazon Prime if you subscribe. And so it's out there. And I guess I didn't realize, I guess the director's cut is something new. Maybe what I watched years ago was not the director's cut.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm guessing Prime was not the director's cut because whatever cut I watched, it was really short.
Oh, it was, about an hour 20, right? An hour.
Yeah. It is the director's cut on Prime. It even says that they show the box. And the weird is, if you look at the weird thing is, if you look at that box, a cover art, whatever. I'm
the box in the bush?
The box. I'm always going to say the box.
They show the box.
Dude, you see the cover art, though? It looks like it's a serious film when you see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know the way they marketed it.
It's bizarre because, it's all over the place. It's inconsistent with what you actually get from the film. And the film is even inconsistent in itself, but it's worth checking out. But that love bite, why does it start with her, sticking a hot poker up his ass? What does she do first? Doesn't she, jam something up his ass?
Oh, I thought she just stabbed his dick, but now you're making it sound even worse.
Maybe stab dick. Well, how's that a love bite? Just bite me.
All I know is you're turning me on.
That's why you like her. You like what she got into.
Poker.
See, there's something about her. There's something. What's her name? I can't say there's something about Mary. What the hell was her name?
Was it Mac?
There's something about Mac. I don't know.
Was it Mac? I can't remember.
I don't know what her name was.
Oh my!
Didn't his brother come?
No, Slab. Slab was her name.
Oh, that's even worse.
Slab.
She belongs on a fucking slab.
Oh my god! I just pulled up a picture, man. She is really it's a picture of her from the movie. She's really not attractive at all. I take it back.
No,
she's not.
No backsies. No backsies.
No backsies.
It was her personality. Something she just gave off some type of.
Yeah, it was that
vibe.
smile that she initially gave to him. And I was like, this is sweet.
It wasn't sweet. It was just that she wanted to get down and dirty. You could just tell. She was a dirty birdie in real life, not in real life. Right? In more ways than one is what I mean to say. She was dirty, physically. She had dirt on her. You know what I mean? She was a slob, and she was dirty sexually. You know what I mean? So she was double dirty, man. What about that thing? This is what's weird about this film. There's many things weird about it, but that whole gimmick when that guy was talking to that girl and she was talking about the 13 male ribs and all that stuff. Remember that? And they pulled the rib out and she was talking about all this stuff. Where was the movie going at that point?
I have no idea what the joke is behind the 13 ribs. He's hallucinating. I don't know. I thought he worked at the airport because at one point he's like, I got to go to the airport. So he goes to the airport. Then he gets a phone call that someone's not showing. So he was evidently there to pick someone up. He's sitting there having coffee and hallucinating her. Then he's sleeping at a radio station. Then he's back in his bed and she's pulling his rib out.
Yeah, it's nuts. It so bizarrely put together. This is what I'm saying. It's almost like a lucid flow, like a bunch of scenes that slightly tie together only because of this convoluted plot and the vitamins, the A24.
Yeah, that was another thing that I they were talking about at the beginning. They were talking about each individual subject and how they were experimenting on them differently. Like they were getting Paul through the vitamin mix because he was drinking that green shit. And they talked about the boys with something with sperm donation.
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, you know what? That girl came on to her. That girl that ran it because she's a pretty girl. She somehow invited them over, basically saying that she was gonna freaking milk them in so many ways. So I don't know. I don't know if she was saying she was gonna sleep with them or there was just gonna be sperm donation. But they did some things and then they were gonna go back to do more apparently with more women. That's what I was getting out of it.
Who? The two boys?
The two Italians. Remember they were going on the way up and they were talking about it? They were driving up and they were saying, yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna go and
yeah. He showed a
burn
picture of her. Yeah, they were going opal mining or something. Man, I was like, the humor was lost on me, I guess. I was just so confused by it.
Yeah, I guess it's just an Australian thing.
But no, he showed the picture and he's like, yeah, the other friend was like, it almost seemed too good to be true. You better not be lying.
Right.
Yeah, so evidently something was going to go on if they had made it there. Yeah, but instead they run into Pud and his family, and that creates the little side plot with Dr. Pud.
Pud and Slab. And I don't know what the other guys' names were, but I don't know.
I have the thing. Listen, I was
Sloth.
It was Bab was one of them. Bab and Bronto.
All right.
Bab and Bronto were the brothers. Slab was the sister, and Pud was the father. And Mac was the mother. And then
the Mac.
You lied to me. That would have been funny if Sal and Gino went in there and they started dancing and singing, "You lied."
I'm surprised we've even talked about it this long. To be totally honest.
It's a Patreon pick.
I know. I'm just shocked. We're talking longer than the actual movie is.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Let's wrap it up. But we do try to put our best foot forward when it's a patron pick. We got to do that.
I think originally this was supposed to be an anthology film. I believe I read on one of the the filmmakers initially wanted to make an anthology movie, but were unable to secure financing for it. So I don't know if they were going to. Yeah, because that's how it felt, like almost like little segments.
Yeah, like the Pebble Court anthology. You know.
Yeah, let's showcase these gross, nasty effects with a family, with a bunch of horny guys, with a pregnant couple. You know, it's like, I don't know if it almost seemed like the way I read that, like if they were going to make an anthology, it would have been an entirely different film.
You know what? They could. I wish they could remake this film. I wish the Americans would remake this film. To be honest with you, because I could see it doing like these three incidences on Pebble Court and what goes on with them, and then tying it together like Trick or Treat style in a way. You know what I mean? With this is this house, this is, and then we don't know until the end maybe that they're all in the same cul-de-sac or whatever. You know, like I don't know.
And we get Mark Morrison to do the soundtrack.
Mark Morrison.
Return of the Mac.
We didn't talk about this soundtrack. It's fucking crazy, too.
Yeah, it fits the film.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't think so. At first, I thought it was a little over the top, but then as the movie progressed, you're right, it does. What was with those really shoddy, shitty computer-generated effects sequences is that where they're trying to go down Pebble Court and they're like,
yes.
It's like Google Maps, but like in 1993.
It was like Atari graphics they were using. It looked like they were playing Paperboy almost.
Yeah, exactly. Paperboy Google Maps.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, Paperboy. And that's their high tech. Like that's, I guess, a funny joke in like this big, huge drug company, and this is the technology that they're using to track their test subjects. But it also was, 90, 93, 92.
Yeah, it was for the time. Why not? I could see that. It was cool. But yeah, Body Melt. What do you guys got?
I had a 6 out of 10.
Oh, me too. 6 out of 10.
And I'll be honest. I think this is the second view. I came up on it a little bit, and I'm also at a 6 out of 10.
On its neck?
I came up on Slab's neck. On Slab's chin. How could you miss that fucking thing?
That's what I call a bullseye. Can't miss.
But you know what? I wouldn't even mind seeing a sequel. Australia make some weird films. They could just continue and make a sequel to it, especially since at the end they show that the product is still on the shelves at the gas station.
That little stinger. Yep. Yeah. Well, Pete, see if you can get it done. Get the ball.
Finance it. Kickstart it.
Body Milk 2, the 14th rib. Pete, tell us what was going on with those ribs. What's the meaning behind the 13th rib? Is it a McRib?
No, they're not from Ireland. They're from Australia. It can't be a McRib. Oh!
What's Irish and stays out all night?
What?
Patio furniture.
Hold on.
Check,
okay.
please.
We
you said you came up on it. Did you give a rating?
6 out of 10 as well.
6
The first time I was probably like a 5, but there's something you even alluded to it. There's something like you just got to see the film.
Yeah,
man.
And it's one I can see myself going back and revisiting every other year, maybe something like that.
It's strangely appealing or something.
Yeah.
I can't, even as I was watching it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But then when it was done, and I was saying that was a really bizarre, fragmented film, and as we talk about it, but I could go check it out again. No question. Yeah.
Every other year sounds right. I can buy that. And I can see why Pete would recommend it. It's something you should see. I never saw it before. C never did. We wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't recommended, so...
I did see it. This is one I did see, but I saw it way back when, and
okay.
I don't remember much from it, like, at all, other than the guy with the snotty.
And that's funny, because I remembered it, and that's why I immediately rented Storm Warning off of Netflix, because I'm like, I don't think I could watch Body Melt again. But when you guys chose that, I was like, all right, we'll do that, because I did realize that it was the easiest one to get a hold of, and enjoyed it more this time, so...
Cool.
Right on. Well,
second view, Dave.
That's right. That's the magic.
20 years later.
That's right. Hey, that's when the magic happens. You can't mess with us anymore, B, saying we have the same rating, because you had the same rating too.
No, we've been we're all synced up now.
Will that continue? Stay tuned.
Let's see.
Yeah, we got a triple R. But before we do that, let me just throw a few things out there quickly. Just some promotions. I'm gonna throw out a few podcasts first. You should be checking out. Podcast by the Cemetery. I've been talking a little more online with Scott Crawford, and check them out. And I've been talking to a girl by the name of Ash, and she is one of the hosts on a podcast called Kill the Dead. I've been doing a lot more Twitter stuff, meeting new people, talking there more than I have on Facebook. I find Twitter to be a more, it might be different for other people that have been on Twitter for years that they're sick of it and saying other things, but I notice that it's a little bit less topical. Like everything I do, I think it's because of the way it's featured. Like it says, everything that comes up is like people that you talk to. It's hard to explain, like the way the Twitter feed is compared to the Facebook feed. It's like everything that comes up is always like from the same 12 people. Even though we're following 4,000 people, the people that I interact with and stuff, that comes up the most. And I've been making new friends that way. And I don't see the politics out there. I don't see too much drama. I know, I guess it's out there, but I don't know. I've been having more fun on there. There's people that we're marketing with, the Pod School family. Check them out. They're on Twitter, and they'll help market your podcast. And it's just, everybody's helping each other out, so that's good. And yeah, good stuff like that. The Monster Squad group, the Monster Kid group. There's people out there, so check them out. It's all good stuff. And as long as I'm talking about them, I'm going to mention a few shorts that I've seen that I want to pass on and recommend. One of them is from James Dean. We've talked about him before on the show. He's a cool cat. He did a movie, and it's on YouTube. It has a strange long name, and it's crazy stuff. It's good though. It's called Maniac Nun on a Mission to Kill Leo Fontaine. That's the name. And it's like 16, 17 minutes long. But check it out. It's James Dean. I didn't know he was a filmmaker. That he did these shorts until recently when it was mentioned on Test Pattern, because he listens to them as well. But I thought I would put it out there. You guys should check that out. And there's a video on Vimeo, and it's his name is James Mansell, and the video is called Ruptured. And that's a real short. That's like 5-6 minutes long. Check that one out. So there you go. I just wanted to throw that stuff out there quickly. And my homie Michael Vincent, who is sending me these old WWF DVDs. This dude has all these old VHS tapes and all these old shows that you can't get anywhere else, not even on the network. And he's hooking me up out of the goodness of his heart because he listens to the show. And he's sending me these DVDs. My first package is going to get here this week, and then I'm going to work something out with him. But I got to pay him something. You know what I mean? But he's gifting me some things right now, and they're hard to find stuff. So just a shout out to Michael Vincent. So that's that. That's all I had to say.
Thanks, Mike, for my stuff, too.
Yeah.
Well, Christian, they tagged you. They said, do you like wrestling? I said, Christian doesn't like wrestling, neither does Brandon. But Brandon's not even on Twitter. But he actually tagged Christian. He was going to say.
Yeah, no, and I saw the Facebook post telling him, I think he tagged you in it, saying they're on their way.
Okay.
I try not to watch bullshit.
Dude, You're bullshit. That's some good old school stuff, man. That's old school WWF. It's stuff that it's hard to get your hands on, even with the network. And it's stuff I've been searching for a long time. And I got into a conversation with him on Twitter. And he says, "Listen, I got some of this stuff. Let me show you what I got." And I'm like, "All right, man, I'm interested." So that's that. And subscribe, people. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Go on there, hit the subscribe button, and every 2 weeks it'll be downloaded to the device of your choice. Boom, right in there. You don't got to look for us, nothing. And give us some ratings on iTunes, please, or Stitcher, or Spotify, or whatever it is. Just show us some love.
Yeah, the ratings help. I don't know how they help, but they do help. It helps our rankings, preferably a 5, but whatever you think is fair.
Rock and roll. All right, we ready?
We are ready. Bloody Ballet from 2018, directed by Brett Mullen. When beautiful ballerina dancer Adriana lands the lead role in the upcoming Nutcracker performance, she's forced to face her demons as jealousy and tension begin to provoke the supernatural.
First time watch.
Second time watch.
Second time for me. I stayed the same with my ranking. I enjoyed it the first time. I enjoy it now. Brandon, on the other hand, somebody said during our messenger chat.
I joked around, and I'll say it now. I said, "Can somebody please write to Jason and ask him why he doesn't like us?" Implying that he's sending us shitty movies. And I don't hate this movie. First of all, the things that are great about this film, right off the bat, I thought the cinematography and the score, that synth score, are fantastic, especially for a low-budget film like this.
Agreed.
Totally agree. Those are the best elements of
those. Yeah, those are the best elements. When we get into the story, there's just some things that are very confusing to me, and the acting is very hit and miss. I mean,
absolutely.
I gotta say, Caroline Williams was actually fine as the dance teacher, but Debbie Rochon as Dr. Casanelli, they should have gotten Bill Casanelli to play that part. He would have been a better Dr. Casanelli than Debbie.
Bill in a wig.
Put a wig on Bill and let him play Debbie Rochon playing Dr. Casanelli.
He wishes he could, then he could kiss the girl. Yeah, man. No. BC.
Get BC up in there.
What do you want, Debbie Rochon? You think she's known for being a tremendous actress?
But look, the whole movie, like it's very hit and miss with the acting. The effects are pretty good. It's got some decent kills. Some of them look a little like when they remove the eyeballs. I didn't think that looked very convincing.
It was good enough. They had good enough gore. It was definitely a gory film. So that was the other strength. I left that part out. I mentioned the cinematography. I mean, this movie wants to be Suspiria, I think. And the score is great and the gore is great. The story is a little convoluted, as are most giallos, I guess. And I guess they're trying to focus on that, but it did seem a little too forced. And I agree with you, Brandon. The acting is definitely hit and miss. And I've been coming down on acting a lot with these low-budget movies. This one was better than Dry Blood for sure, but there were still some sketchy moments.
I didn't say nothing. I thought we were friends. Dave's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I don't know. I'll tell you this. I think the acting, whatever. It didn't really rub me either way. I don't know. Nothing stood out as being particularly bad to me, where I was like, that it took me out of it. But I think that this movie, I think they did it on purpose. Certain things. I think they throw in this unnecessary subplot, which is completely unnecessary, and I think they did that on purpose because they intentionally tried to make a movie that married Argento and Fulci. Because that's what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the look and feel of an Argento, and somewhat the feel of a Fulci, but the plot is kind of like a Fulci film.
I know what you're saying, and that whole plot twist was completely unnecessary because it implies. I mean, are we doing spoilers here on this?
We can try to dance around it the best we can. We don't want to come right out and say it. I would say, but I think
pirouette around it.
All right. Plie. Position, please. I think the story with Adriana and what's going on with her, the way they start the film, and it looks beautiful, and it's kind of easy to piece together what's going on and where that story builds from there. And I would have loved for them to focus more on her getting ready for the performance and the competition, almost like Black Swan meets Suspiria. But then they threw in that whole subplot with this McCabe guy.
The detective?
The
or
the reporter.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I said detective. I meant yeah.
Yeah, the reporter doing like a story at like some asylum, some random asylum, and being warned not to talk to the ghosts, especially the young ones, because they'll follow you home. And that never connected to the original story. I'm sorry, I just couldn't because he was talking to the guy, and he even said something about like 1900 or something, implying that what happened at this place happened 100 years ago. Right. Meanwhile, the story we're being presented is a modern story.
1892.
1892. Okay, that's and that's the biggest disconnect for me, and it really hurts the film. Even though I do like the way they tie in that ending and the discovery, and that big last reveal is kind of cool. But what a waste! They could have done it in a different way. They could have done it. I agree. Yeah, they could have done it with just having.
They could have left that all out altogether.
They could have left one of the dancers alive and have her in well, it shouldn't have even been an asylum. It should have been the dance studio a few years later, right?
But that would have been too revealing. Then we would have had it all figured out beforehand. Well, listen, this is what I'm saying. I think how many times have you watched an old Italian film, a Fulci or another director or something like that, and it didn't make sense that way? And they threw something in there. Couldn't you see this exact same plot happening in an Italian film with the dub over it? And you would not penalize the film for that. You would just say that's how Italians make films.
You know what? You're making a very valid point. That is fair, because I recently just watched a 72 giallo called Death Walks at Midnight. And I thought it was so good for like the first half, and then it became so convoluted and such a mess in the second half, which is how I felt about this film. Yet I feel like I'm definitely being harder on this one.
I think it was an artistic choice, because why else would you do it? I think that the people that made this movie tried so hard to do an Argento/Fulci film that they tried to throw in all these other elements. I think it was a choice, because otherwise, why do that? Why not just make this a straightforward slasher? With this girl, it practically writes itself. She goes to the school. Her friends are getting bumped off, and we know where it's going to go at the end. Any seasoned horror viewer halfway through is probably going to figure out what the hell is going to end up happening here at the end. And it is what it is. But I think the only thing that makes a lick of sense is that they did that on purpose, to make it try to look like a 70s Italian film. That's what I'm going with, because it helped me.
I can agree with that.
It helps the film.
Or agree with you.
I just that final discovery, as much as I enjoyed it, it just makes I can't get it to make any sense in my mind.
It doesn't make sense. You're right.
And I wanted to.
So do I. I'm with you.
If that makes sense, even though I thought the McCabe character was boring, especially like the voiceover monologues, I was very out of it whenever he was on screen. If it made sense, I think I would raise this film a whole point.
I agree with you. 100% I'm on board with everything you're saying. I think we all pretty much feel the same way. There was some solid gore. The slasher/giallo elements were spot on. The kills were mostly good. It's a lot of stuff you enjoy. That freaking music box with the creepy music, I thought it's all good. Again, it's just like a freaking 70s Italian film.
The Killer's Mask was awesome. The Killer's Mask is awesome. And you know what? You brought up Fulci, and I criticized some of the kills earlier, but Fulci and eyeballs. I mean, so it's right there. And Argento,
and zombies.
With the zombies, the color palette,
the color palette especially.
Yeah, so I mean,
the soundtrack, score, I should say.
As much as I'm coming down on things not making sense, it is a great homage to Italian cinema. I just felt like, I just wanted to wrap up in a nicer, tighter bow.
I agree. If this movie was made in the 70s, it wouldn't have, and came from Italy, we probably wouldn't care as much. But because it's made now, and we're watching it dubbed now,
or if they even faked the dubbing of it to mask the acting almost. I wonder if that would have worked.
They probably should have.
It might have added to something, because it's not everybody. Because Stretch from you mentioned
Caroline Williams,
she was great, and
she was fine, and I thought the lead girl was fine.
She was fine until she went into some hysterics. Then I was a little I was like, oof, that wasn't good. But for the most part, good. Like passable. But it just, again, I noticed it enough that it took something away from the movie. But I agree. I enjoyed this. This was much more enjoyable to me than Dry Blood was.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I can see that. I'm pretty close.
I'm close too. Dry Blood is actually more the type of film that I enjoy, but I think I'm about the same, probably around the same.
Oh, and for the listeners out there, we are being very cryptic, I guess, without revealing too much in case you haven't seen it. Because when did this get released? Because this was not even on my radar as a 2018 movie.
Last year.
It was. I don't think it was on. It was on Prime. Yeah, it was on Prime last year. Yeah,
and it wasn't on Canadian Prime then.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Unfortunately.
And it's got such gorgeous artwork that you really like. I want a poster of that artwork.
So it was originally called Fantasma?
Yeah, even the poster artwork says Fantasma on it. Brett Mullen's Fantasma.
Which Bloody Ballet is not a really good title.
Ballet Ballet.
You don't think so? I love it. It's like an 80s slasher title. Totally. Bloody Ballet.
I think Fantasma is more of what they're going for.
True.
From the look of it and that
Fantasma has more of that 70s Italian feel, while Bloody Ballet has more of that generic, shitty slasher feel.
Kind of like a Fulci, like Murder Rock. Or what was the other? It was Murder Rock? Or was Murder Rock the one where it was the dancers?
Yep.
Yeah.
It sure was. And he killed them all the same way with a freaking needle. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. This movie, I would honestly rather watch this than Murder Rock. I'll tell you right now. Murder Rock is very repetitious with the kills. I don't think it's an amazing, piece of art or anything,
I was never high on Murder Rock.
Guy.
Yeah, neither am I. I've always said that. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, but I could definitely leave it.
Sure. Depends on the movie, but I mean, overall, as far as body of work, I like the gore and things like that, but the stories just don't make sense to me. And I guess you can excuse it for where it comes from and the time period, but still, that's always been my big problem with some of his films, most of his films. But this to me seems more like an Italian slasher, almost like Stage Fright. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really giallo. The only investigating going on really is this random guy that's thrown in there. You know what I mean? Who, by the way, all of a sudden knows he's an artist by the end of the film. Remember that part he's looking at he drew a bunch of pictures. I'm thinking, where the hell did all these pictures come from? Did he draw them? We never know. But again,
I don't know.
It takes you back to Italian horror. Things happen with unexplained.
But that would have been better if it took on more of Stage Fright with more performances and more of the dancers coming together to create more red herrings. Because even though you can really figure out pretty quickly what's going on in terms of who's the, antagonist here, it doesn't hurt the film. And I think they try to just confuse you by the end that you're like, that story doesn't even matter by the end.
No, it doesn't. It's really unnecessary. It's an unnecessary subplot. It's just could have been a straightforward Italian type slasher looking thing.
Even the twist they had with our antagonist as to why everything's going on, that's fine.
Makes
been
sense.
Been there, done that. Makes sense. It's fine.
We saw it. Yeah,
it's fine. But it was done in like a modern, stylish way, paying homage to Italian films. But like I said, for me, when I say the acting, was bad, yeah, it was hit and miss here and there. But the bad acting for me came from two pivotal characters. And that is Debbie Rochon as the doctor, as the psychiatrist, which was a pivotal character in here because she had a lot of back and forth with our lead character, and it was just her acting was just so over the top. Like she would be like screaming at some points, and it was just really took you out of it. And the McCabe character, which was a completely almost like a separate story going on, and you're like, what the hell's going on? It's just this random guy having monologues with himself.
Yeah,
I really do think that hurts the film.
Yeah.
As we mentioned it, I feel like a broken record, but it needs to be said again. It could have easily been excised right out.
I agree, but I think they did. I think it was an artistic choice. I think it was an homage thing. That's the best thing I can have. I'm going to cut on some slack and say that had to be the reason. It helped. It didn't make my rating any higher or lower, but I'm trying to excuse it for some reason because there's really no reason for it. And everything else about the movie works. I mean, for the most part, the look and the feel, and it just, I don't know, the sound, of course. The people behind this know what they're doing. They seem like they're smart filmmakers. So why do that unless there's a reason? But I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I don't know. Who am I? I'm just
no. There's something there. There's something definitely there. I mean, just from the look of the film and the music itself, it's like you want to watch the film. It's just then you watch it and there's just some choices made. It's like, why? It's like, okay, you could leave in some of this stuff. You could leave in zombie stuff to pay homage to this, but just I don't know. Make it make sense, or at least explain it online somewhere, like what it all means.
Well, I mean, this doesn't like approach my enjoyment of that I had for Masks or The Editor, but this definitely, I enjoyed much more than Francesca.
Really?
Yeah. I'm about the same. I think I'm about equal, but I haven't seen Francesca in a while. But that's also on Tubi now, or Tubi.
Yeah, that's where I saw it because I had missed it when it came out, and I remember Moods was really high in it, and I really didn't dig his other film, Profondo, not Rosso, or
Profondo Rosso? No, that's
Deep Red.
That's Deep Red, but it's Profondo.
Sando Profondo?
Yeah, I think it's Sando Profondo or something like that.
I've got to look it up now.
Rondo Profondo. I wasn't a big fan of that either, but because he almost doesn't like using dialogue, and I like dialogue. So like this was an homage. I would love to know the budget for it because I think they've been very successful.
Profondo.
Thank you.
Profondo. Deep Sleep. I liked Francesca a lot more than I liked Deep Sleep, and he just did a new movie that came out last year called What the Waters Left Behind, which I believe was on Prime as well. I know he's a member of like the I think the 22 Shots page. I'm not sure I'm not sure if he's a member of our group, Luciano Onetti. Yeah, but I like his work. I like especially Francesca. That was my favorite of his.
I need to watch it.
I like that better, but I haven't watched his other movie from last year. But I enjoyed this more than those two homages. They just it just worked for me. I'm not high on this movie by any means, but I think from the look, from the music, and it had enough good stuff to make it a recommend. I don't know if you guys are done, but I'm at 6.75.
Holy shit!
Seven.
I'm seriously at 6.75. Yeah.
It's funny how.
But, Dave, it's perfect, because it's Argento meets Fulci.
Yeah, totally.
It really is. So it has to be of course, I mean, our ratings really aren't super low. We're not super high, but we're not super low by any means. So it's certainly a recommend, and I think fans of Italian cinema especially will appreciate it. I know Jason loved it, and I think he said it. Did you say he made top 10? Yeah.
I think what he said. Yep.
And you know what? Like I said, a few different things here and there, and this could have been an 8 out of 10 for me, competing for a spot in the year-end show.
Same here. And I've only watched it once. Excuse me, but yeah, just a few changes I would have made based on my first watch. So let's see what happens after another one.
I have to ask you guys if you noticed there was a screw up in the order of the girls' deaths when there was the news was being played, and there was a phone call made because of it. And Gigi was killed first, and then Elena was killed later with her boyfriend. And later on in the film, the news was on, and somebody called someone and said, they played the news, and it said that Elena, they said the names, and they basically said that Elena got murdered first, and then Gigi. And this was like the news reporting. And they think that it's the same people that was tied in with the murder of Elena so-and-so. And Gigi, somebody was found dead. And it was like 3 days after the Gigi thing happened, because that's what kicked it all off.
No, I definitely didn't notice that.
You know what? I noticed that they made mention to Elena on the news and not Gigi, but I didn't really think too much of it. But Gigi had a good kill with that slit throat.
Oh, yes.
Elena's kill was pretty good, and then I don't know. I just didn't love some of the eye things. Yeah, it was nasty, but I don't know, kind of.
Well, they just dwelled in the car a little too much. They could have cut away, and it would have been just as effective.
Yeah, it's almost as if we had just seen the blade approaching the eye, and then just seeing the after effect. It would have been better than watching the killer kind of slide it back and forth. It looked like they were trying to whittle wood or something.
No, I didn't hate it, but yes, it
no, I didn't hate
showed
it
that you notice it's a fake head. my
Yeah.
favorite term.
Well-
But I love the slashing at the table, the dinner with this. I love straight razor stuff, and then the aftermath of her just being dead at the table, and you just see her
Yeah.
sliced up. Oh, it was very effective.
Good kills, man. Good kills. You know what the girl reminded me of,
and
too?
the friend, the friend Berna.
Yeah.
That
whole
when
scene
she cuts
was
the
awesome.
Achilles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, that was nasty.
Oh, yeah. That was good stuff.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
there was a lot of good stuff here.
For sure. Okay, now
Thank
I think
you,
we should
Jason.
take our break. Would you say, C?
So thank you, Jason.
Yes. Thank you, Jason. Yes.
Thank you, Jason, for our break.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll take our break, come back, talk a little more stuff, and then do our final review for the evening. So we'll see you on the flips.
Hello, Headites. While Brandon goes to write down some more puns that Christian will threaten to leave the show over, and Dave goes to look for more red lights for that room of his that clearly doubles as a European whorehouse, please allow me to tell you about another great horror podcast, In the Mic of Madness. We also have what most shows only talk about, tits, real ones, on a real girl, and we call her Becca. She even knows some shit about movies. My other co-host, Brad, sometimes can get so loose with his lips that it's left on the cutting room floor due to the cease and desist orders. I will warn you up front that our show is not for the faint of heart. We speak fast and loose with our words and tend to offend as much as we entertain. We grew up in far less sensitive times, and our banter reflects that. We focus mainly on ultra-low-budget cinema that most people either ignore or pirate. We also interview filmmakers and actors you've never heard of, and get them to say stuff they'll probably regret once you have heard of them. So come on over and join the fun at In the Mic of Madness, where overlooked films get their fair shake.
So you guys know the only 2019 horror movies I've watched were Dry Blood, which I didn't know was 2019 until we talked about it, and the other one from last year, the Death Camp thing, and the comedy, the horror comedy.
It sounds like a World War II documentary.
that
The Death Camp.
Whatever the hell it was called, Death Camp 3, 2D, whatever it was.
2D.
But that 2D or not Tubby.
and the Bad Man. The Bad Man's considered 2019.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Okay, well then I guess I've seen 3, but you know it's weird. I have nothing has. I mean, Us is coming out like what next week or whatever. That's something that's a must see for me. But I mean, everything else that I've seen, people, it's nothing like last year. Like nothing has won me over. Like nothing has passed the Dave Z test where I'm looking at it, where I'm saying to myself, does this have a chance to make my top 10 or anything like that, or top 19, whatever it's going to be? And I just nothing has like swayed me. Like nothing has been across the board like that people have been on. You know what I'm saying? Is it just me?
No. The only movie that stands out are the ones that I consider 2019 would be Glass, and I'd give the next nod to maybe Anna and the Apocalypse, maybe, and that's not by any means great. That was
Is Anna and
good.
the Apocalypse 2019? I
It
thought they came out
depends.
last year.
It depends. Like it depends on where you look. Some people say it's a 2019 because of the limited release it got. So I'm counting that because there was more festival runs.
I think so. We'll have to look it up on.
And then
what do you call it?
Braid. Everybody's raving about Braid. I thought Braid was good.
Okay.
I thought it was good.
See,
I'm in the
Braid-
minority though. People are loving it.
How many have you watched?
Some.
See?
Okay, so Camp Death 3 and 2D, Glass, Slasher Party, The Bad Man, Dry Blood, Anna and the Apocalypse, and Braid. So that's 7. Not many.
All right. So Dave's at 3, you're at 7, and I'm gonna get into my movie challenge and talk about that in a little bit. But for me, I've watched Piercing, Pledge, Life Changer, Dry Blood, Animus, Velvet Buzzsaw, Horror Noir, and The Bad Man, and Camp Death 3 if you count that. So that would be 9. And the only reason why I'm saying this in conjunction with this movie challenge I'm doing is because I haven't told people, but I'm trying to watch 1,000 different movies this year.
You're out of your mind.
And
1,000 in total. Like it could be old movies, right?
it could be old movies.
Oh,
The only requirement is that the movie's at least an hour long, because if you watch like old Hollywood movies from the 30s or 40s, some of them are like 60 minutes or 59 minutes long. So occasionally you might throw one of those in. but I am tracking my entire progress on Letterboxd.
Yes, I'm on there too now, so that's good. I'm gonna have to look at your thing because I haven't looked at really any of that.
And where are you now? Tell everybody where you stand right motherfucking now.
Well, my Letterboxd username is B Orlick, so just Borlick, BORLICK, and
Dr.
my
Borlick.
count to this point, we are about 70 days into the year. I am at 328 movies watched.
Jesus Christmas.
Holy cow.
I have 73 movies. That's 328?
And there's 4 of us doing this challenge, and the other guys are two of them are close to 200, and one of them's at around 240. So we're all on pace. I'm just way ahead of schedule.
That's good though. Get it. You're probably gonna burn out, but still, at least you got a bunch of...
But the point I'm trying to make is I've watched 8 2019 horror films, and besides that, I've been watching mainly like old comedies that I want, because there just hasn't been anything that struck my fancy yet. Christian mentioned some of the films. You mentioned Us. I've been looking recently at some of the new movies coming out. I've actually been watching some of the trailers, just to see if anything seems interesting, because especially this year, we're doing a top 19. Of those 8 films I mentioned, Piercing I would really recommend, and Animus on Netflix I would really recommend. But other than that, like, I haven't been blown away. It's been solid this year, from the 8 films I've seen, but nothing that's like amazing. I do want to check out Braid because I've been hearing people talk about it.
Yeah, people are going crazy over it, and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. I also joined Letterboxd right just for this year, just because it's easier. Just for the ease of it. I'm not always putting the ratings on. If it's things that are for the show, the rating isn't going to go on until the next show drops. Because I don't like to freaking give things away, and I don't like when other shows do it. So but I am putting everything there. And like right now, here's what I have: 4 movies on my watch list, because they have the watch list thing on Letterboxd. And right now, it's Dave Z, as in Z-E-E. If you want to find me there, I am on Letterboxd. And if you follow me, I'll follow you right back. But here's the 4 movies I put there from 2019. Hole in the Ground, Gollum, Braid, and Purgatory Road. That is it.
Yeah, it's not. Purgatory Road's one that I added to my list. Gollum does not appeal to me, even though the story is a Jewish story. I like the original Gollum from like the 20s. But what was the first one you mentioned?
Hole in the Ground.
Hole in the Ground. Yeah, that's one that somebody in our group just recently posted that I think she had watched it and said it was excellent. So I'm interested in checking that one out too, because people are talking about that one.
But that's it though. It's the only 4 movies that are really on my radar. Like the other ones, I'm not even sure if they're horror. Like Anna and the Apocalypse, I don't think it's musical. I don't think I'm going to be into it, and it's comedy, zombie shit. I don't think I'll be into it. I don't think it has any chance of sniffing any list I'm going to make. Piercing, I'm not sure how much horror that is. I don't know. I can't say I didn't see it. I'm going by what I hear on podcast, what I hear people in our group page and other horror group pages saying, and I'm just going by that. I'm just going by the general consensus. Because even if a movie, like, if someone says, hey, this, and this, and someone else, and they say they like it a lot, and then someone else weighs in and says, oh, it's pretentious, arty bullshit, that's going to actually turn me on. Because apparently a lot of the stuff I like to a lot of people.
Then you like Braid.
That's why it's on my list. That's what I'm saying. I like that trippy shit and artistic.
And I liked Braid. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. And Anna and the Apocalypse, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying from what I saw, it's in the top 3 of what I saw. I think it'd probably go like Glass, Braid, Anna and the Apocalypse, maybe, in that order. And Anna and the Apocalypse was not even all that great. It was just good.
Yeah. Animus is my number 1 for this year right now.
Which one?
Really?
Animus. It's on Netflix.
Really?
It's on Netflix.
Said you recommend it, so.
Yeah. But
I'll write it then. I never heard of I never heard of Animus. I'm going to write that down. And the other 2, I'm not even considering horror. I'm not considering Glass horror from everything I've heard. And I'm not considering, what the hell else was it that people... Velvet Buzzsaw, I'm not going to consider a horror movie. and I'm not going to consider. There was one more that other people are talking. Oh,
Chapter
Happy
2?
Death Day. Happy Death Day to You. I'm not considering horror. Everyone that I've heard talk about it, it's like 90% comedy. I don't think these movies have a chance of making any list I'm going to make. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm having fun. I'll tell you, today's date. What is the date? The 9th or something?
Yeah, the 9th.
Okay, so the 9th of the month of March, I didn't log the new one in that I just watched, but I'm at 67 films. So it's almost at a film a day. The average is maybe off by, 2 days. So I'm still holding strong. I'm still watching a lot of movies, and I'm watching a lot of different things, and I'm revisiting a lot of things that I just enjoy. Like January was my month off of horror, so I watched all kinds of freaking, I don't know if you guys saw it in the group page, but I was watching.
you were watching a lot of classics, catching
right,
up.
that I've never seen. So,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I do every January. I'm like, okay, maybe I should have seen this movie by now. So I did that, and I got on a bunch of those things, and I was watching, like, Terminator and, movies like that. Then I got on this found footage kick. I'm going to read an email, because that's what I forgot to do that last show, and I said I was going to do it. But let me find it quickly. But I've been on the found footage kick again. And it's great because my daughter is on it with me. Turns out she really likes found footage, especially the mockumentary stuff. Because she saw the Bay last year and it freaked her out, or a year and a half ago. Like, it bothered her, like the body horror stuff and the bacteria. She didn't like it, but she did like the idea of the mockumentary type movie. So I watched Savage Land with her, and I watched Blair Witch Project with her, and she likes them. And now I'm going through Paranormal Activity. We watched one last year and she wasn't crazy about it. But now we've watched 2, 3, and 4 all this past week, and she's enjoying the ride. So I'm doing the found footage thing with her, and it's been kind of cool. And it all got kicked off hardcore because of an email that was sent to me by Chris Taylor about a movie called Cold Ground. And he sent the email to me. He said, I know you're a huge found footage fan. I want to let you know about a found footage movie I watched on Prime lately. It's called Cold Ground. I'm not going to go into plot details, but if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to watch it. It blew me away. So anyway, he really liked it. He's like freaking... It's his favorite found footage movie, with the possible exception of Blair Witch Project. So he absolutely loved it. So yeah, I did watch it, and he's like in the 9 out of 10 area. I'm not gonna go that high, but I did enjoy it. I mean, what the hell? It's been so long since I've watched it that I can't really give you all the information. But I think I gave it I have the rating here. I gave it like a 7.25, but. It's good for found footage enthusiasts. You really should check this one out. It's on Prime. It's called Cold Ground.
I like that cover art. The lucky ones freeze to death.
It's pretty cool, man.
Is it
French
2019 or no? It's older.
It says 2017.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it came out at 18 on Prime.
Yeah, it looks like it came out in 18.
But it's cool. I think you guys actually both like it. It takes place in 1976 as well, so it's doing a documentary about things that are happening on the border, the French-Swiss border, and it's a documentary for French TV, and there's some things going on in this area, and it's just check it out. I know you guys are into found footage enough that I think you guys would like it. So
yeah, and cool. Canadian and Christian's French.
Yes, and I wanted to talk about it last show because we had all the French film, but we just didn't have the time. No one else had watched any movies. I was going to make it an official Triple R, but no one else had a Triple R to do, so we couldn't do it. And now it's been so long that I can't do the movie justice by going over the plot details because I forgot. But I do know that I enjoy the film, and and I'm glad that Chris sent it my way. So thank you again. And B, that's what you should do. You should do the found footage challenge now that you're watching 1,000 movies. I should send you the official list, and anything you haven't seen, you should watch.
Hey, I'll finish off the list, especially found footage because they're shorter films too.
Right.
The Gallows.
And if anybody wants to know Dave's number one, it's the first 2.5-hour movie that comes out this year.
And period piece for that.
Christian like that.
Dave looked like he was like, hey, yeah. Hey, fuck, I'll prick you.
It is what it is. Isn't it weird, though, that I have all these long movies and I'm not usually a proponent for them? I didn't think. Typically I haven't been, but recent years I have been. And period pieces. I was thinking of it the other day. 4 years in a row, my number one movie is a period piece. It just happened to be that way. And they happen to be long, although The Witch wasn't long. The Witch clocks in like the 90-minute area. So that's one more great thing about that film. Did you guys see Suspiria yet or no?
I still have not seen Suspiria.
God, don't you trust me? What the hell? Why?
I trust you.
Trust you. It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I can watch 2 movies in that time, especially with the challenge. But now that I'm so far ahead, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, but don't go in that mentality of it's 2.5 hours because then it will seem long to you. You know what I mean? That's the problem. If you're going to go in dreading a long movie, I noticed that people do that. Anyone that's had like negative stuff to say about it have said that. When I sat down and watched the movie in theaters, by the way, twice, and once with a 12-year-old with me, nobody had a problem with it being. It sets itself up at the beginning saying this is a 6th-act film. And there you go. I kept looking forward to the next act. I was like, okay, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and I don't know. But if you go in there thinking it's going to be long, then don't bother because
maybe I'll watch an act a week.
Yeah, can you do that? Will that work?
In 6 weeks, I'll review the film.
Does that count as 6 movies for your challenge?
Unbelievable. So we're all on Letterboxd now. That's what's going on. All 3 of us there.
And we have the Exploding Heads Letterboxd that you already set up for us,
which I don't know how to get into anymore.
Oh, he gave me. I got the information.
But see, my app is already here and this and that. If I sign in with a different account, I don't know. Okay, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should play around.
I got the info.
I've had some fun this year, I'm watching a whole, I didn't consider horror noir either. I don't consider documentaries so much as to be on my horror list. But
I have it on the horror list. I'm not going to make it eligible for a top spot, in terms of year-end show, but that's probably the best horror film this year.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. You know what? I want to throw out another recommend. There's an app out there called Just Watch. Get that app.
Just Watch.
Just Watch. Because if you want to know where something is playing, streaming, you just type the movie in, and there it is. And it also tells you every day when a new movie arrives at Netflix or Prime or what have you, every day there's a new thing. Released today, 3 titles here, and it's there. And I use this thing so much now. Like right now, I want to talk about this movie because it's on my found footage list. It's called Alone with Her, and I showed it to my daughter. Haven't watched it in a while, but I'm pretty sure that it's somewhere, and that's what made it easier. No, okay, you can only rent it on Amazon, $4. Okay. Either way, I enjoyed that one again. I still in the 7 out of 10 range, and I'm not going to review it. I'm just going down some of the movies on my list and revisiting them and having a good time with them. Like I said, Savage Land, I watched it again, Alone with Her. Watched that for the first time in a while and enjoyed it.
Savage Land was really good.
Oh, man, it was even better this time on my TV and everything.
That was a great one.
I didn't mind that one. And I use Just Watch. You can Canadianize it so that it will tell you where because a lot of the films are not available the same way they are in the States. And that's why I found Braid and Anna and the Apocalypse were on Hoopla, which is your link to your local library. I think I told you guys about this the last time. And I was able to rent or borrow, as they call it. You're borrowing the movie for 48 hours. And I watched Braid and Anna and the Apocalypse through that. It was great.
I got to get that. Hopefully it's on my TV. Or if it's not, it's on a computer. Like,
right now, I've got the computer will not allow you to download them to your thing, which is fine. You can just stream. But I was doing it to my iPad. I didn't check to see. I'm pretty sure it's probably available for Apple TV. I just didn't check.
But I can get it on my iPad then if it's an Apple.
No, I was watching it on an iPad.
I'm going to look into it. Then again, that's Canada, so who knows? But I'm still going to look into that Hoopla. I'm going to go to my library and get a card because it sounds like it's worth it to me. I watched Bad Dream. Did I tell you that, see?
Oh, you fun? Yeah. I think you did mention it.
Okay. It's been a while. I would give it a 7 out of 10, so it probably would have made my freaking slasher list, and it's slasher enough for me. So, yeah. I watched Drag Me to Hell because I've been saying for years I should watch it again because I was so thrown off the first time I saw it. I wasn't expecting it to be as Evil Dead-ish comic way as it was, but this time around, second view Dave. I mean, it was long overdue, and it's 8 out of 10. So
yeah, it's way more enjoyable the second time for sure.
Yeah, because I didn't know what to expect. But I've watched The Burbs. I enjoyed the hell out of that. 8 out of 10. I'm a lot of new watches and a lot of second views, but I'm having fun doing the Den. I showed that one to my daughter. She liked that. Creep, I showed that one to her. She liked that one. She's like, oh, there's a Creep 2. She saw it on Netflix. She goes, yeah, we'll watch it. I don't like Creep 2 as much as 1. I know that I'm in the minority. I know some people like it better. I just enjoy the way the first one was set up better. I don't know.
I think you guys are the majority. I'm the one that liked Creep 2 better.
No, I think a lot of people. I thought a lot of people like Creep 2. I hated it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. No, not at all.
I was just okay. Like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Fucking extremes, this guy.
No, but it was a big drop off from part 1 for me.
It was a drop off enough because I missed the mystery of is he crazy or is he not, and what is true and what's not. Now it's all out there already, and you know what he is, and it's not. It doesn't have that.
The original Creep was my number 2 film of 2015. Granted, my top 10 list was fucked that year, but it was my number 2 film that year. And Creep 2 didn't even sniff a top 17 or 18, whatever it was year that came out.
Yeah. For me, the first one's like an 8, and Creep 2 is like a 7.
Yeah, the first one was 8.5 for me.
It might even be an 8.5 for me. It was, I think it was like my number 10 that year, or it was 11, whatever it was. I did quite enjoy it. Even it reminds me of like Another Evil. Remember Another Evil? That great movie, and the relationship between the two guys and the way things progress. That's what you see kind of in Creep. Granted, Creep was first, but that's what I compare it to. Creep 2, it's like the mystery's already out there. I don't know. I can't explain it. What's that?
Cruise Control. Creep 2, Cruise Control.
Creep 2 on the move. So anyway, did you guys see the Bundy thing on Netflix?
I got bored of it. I put it on, and I think I fell asleep to it, yeah.
Wow.
He didn't kill enough people for me. I'm kidding. Yeah. The Bundy tapes, right?
I loved it. What about Abducted in Plain Sight? That freaking film? Did you see that one?
I liked it.
My wife told me about it, and it sounded like it would make me mad, so I didn't watch it.
It made me so mad that I watched it by myself. My wife was gone. I told my wife, I was texting her watching. I said, you have to see this film. When you come home, you got to watch this movie. Actually, my daughter started watching it by herself the first time. Showed it to me. I watched it with her, right? And then I watched it, and then I told my wife, and so my daughter saw it 3 times. I saw it twice. These parents are freaking so stupid, so ridiculous.
It was borderline idiotic at times. It almost felt like it was farce.
Right.
That's how ridiculous.
This is the one where they allow, my wife was telling me, that they allow their kid to sleep, the predator to sleep in with the kid for his rehabilitation. What the fuck?
And that was after he had kidnapped her, took her to Mexico, and married her. Dude, you won't believe. You have to see it just to know. Just to see this. It's unbelievable. That's what I'll tell my wife. I'm like, you've got to see this film. Because I knew she was going to be angry. I was angry. She was getting more angry. And I knew it was going to happen. But it's something that has to be seen to be believed. So you have to see it. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway. That's it. And I'm going through Paranormal Activity. I said that. I'll tell you what, I watched 4 today, and I enjoyed it more than I have ever enjoyed it. And they didn't go anywhere, like we said when we did our retro, which I love that show that we did. That's one of my favorite shows. I really do.
I love us.
That is that's one of the best experiences that I've had with this show.
Yeah, I really love me on that episode.
I do. I love that episode. Like I don't walk around recommending many of our episodes to people when I first start talking to them.
He's walking down the street just saying, "Exploding Heads, Paranormal Activity. Check it out."
Check it out. That's the shirt he got made up. Paranormal Activity episode. What is it? 68? I don't even remember what it was.
That's well, 68. I'm proud of the retro.
50.
I'm proud of it.
No one else a good retro. Yeah, we did it.
We dug deep. You know what I mean? But I really enjoyed part 4 this time more than before. I still give it the same rating, but I like what it does story-wise. I like how it advances the story, but it's so lacked in other areas. But I really like seeing freaking Katie the last 10 minutes just freaking go on that rampage. And you actually see her evil for more than 30 seconds. You see her agenda, and you see where she is now. She's basically taken over where her grandmother was. She's like a serious piece in this freaking, a serious player, I should say, in this coven, and I like it. That's what I like about it is seeing Katie doing her thing, man. It's pretty cool. But whatever. A couple.
I'm surprised they haven't come up with a 7th one.
I
I love this series.
Where can they go? I just don't know. If they could bring Katie back in and do something else, yeah, that would be fine. If they
Toby's Revenge.
So anyway, you want to talk about Patreon really quick? See, because we sat down and we freaking restructured the Patreon.
Yeah, Brandon decided to not join us one night.
Yeah,
and we decided that was.
I did wake up to a very interesting Patreon page. I'm like, oh, nice.
You like it though, right?
I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, Dave and I not just Dave and I, we had talked about offering some different options, different levels, tier levels, and we came up with some good ones. Actually, Dave, I think, came up with all of them. We just figured out how we were going to structure it. And I think there's some fantastic options for people who want to donate. You don't have to donate, but we fucking appreciate it. And if you just want to donate $1, so be it. Thank you. That's awesome. That doesn't give you all access, but it gives you access to Brandon's anus. It gives you entry, but full access starts at $3, right?
Yep, full access gets you the video and everything else that comes with it. Yep. But we have different levels, we have different options. You know what I mean? It's restructured. If you guys are on the fence, look and see what you can do now, because it's different stuff. And this is the year of the patron. We're taking it seriously.
Climb down first, then look into the stuff.
Prime down? What'd you say?
Climb down first, then look into stuff.
Climb down.
Well, you said if they're on the fence, like just.
Oh, you crazy bastard. Okay, climb down. Climb down. But check it out, because we even our next 3 shows, we already pretty much know what they are. Depending on when they're like, our next show is going to be another one from Daryl, where we're going to be talking about Bava. There's 3 films there, so he has the trilogy option, which we've always had that option, so that's not new. But then after that, if she's ready to cash it in, is Christine Stroud, and what she's doing.
What is it, like 1 year, 10 films? 2
Yes.
girls, 1 cup?
Yeah. Cool.
Yes, it's 1 year, 10 films. It's friggin' pick any year in horror, and we'll talk about 10 films. We'll talk about, there'll be like triple R's or whatever. We'll talk about them for a couple hours. We'll do our thing. You know what I mean? Just things like that.
She's picking the year and the films.
Yes, she doesn't have to. If she wants to, that's her option. Correct.
Yeah.
She's definitely picking the year.
She gets the option to. Yeah.
Yes, if she wants us to pick the films, we can. If she wants to pick them all, whatever it is, we made everything out there, so it's like, give people options. But yes, let her pick all 10. That's great too. But that should be fun. And then after that, we said we'd never do it, but in the year of the patron, and just for fun, we're going to do it. After that, Derek B has moved up a tier to have us talk about non-horror movies for one show.
Did he tell you guys what they were?
No, did he tell you?
He did.
Yeah, he did. He showed me as well.
He didn't show me. I just talked to him yesterday too about something nothing to do with this, but
it's actually a very interesting idea of what he chose.
Let me ask you this: is it something unconventional? It's not. It's not going to be like 3 freaking Asian movies, is it?
No.
It's 3 films, 3 non-horror films by a famous horror director.
So there is a tie-in. Okay.
Yeah.
We were making fun of him earlier. Not really. It's 3 Fulci films that are not Italian.
What?
That are not.
I was about to say that. Yeah, they're 3 Fulci French films.
That are not horror.
Really?
Yeah, because Fulci started with non-horror films.
Interesting. Wow.
I think it's. I've never seen any of the films. It's like four of the Apocalypse, Contraband, and there was one other.
Conquest,
like
which I have seen. Yeah.
Conquest.
That's
a
a pretty cool movie.
I thought it was interesting. I'm like to see a famous horror director's non-horror works.
That is interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it, if we're a horror show, we can at least still have a tie-in with it being Fulci. So I respect that. I do. I do hope someone else comes in and does that though, and has us pick like one comedy, one fantasy film, and like one action movie.
Porn.
Things that you. Just something like that where it's crazy. Like say, hey, you guys watch freaking Labyrinth or something because I've never seen it. Some random.
Oh my
thing.
God, I would love to review Labyrinth. I might pay us to review Labyrinth.
That's what I say. If someone else ever cashes that in,
Just
because
so
a lot
Dave
of
can
these
watch
things. Yeah, I haven't seen Legend either. There's so many.
I've never
different
seen
movies.
Legend. That would be a good Legend, Labyrinth, and what's another one?
Princess Bride or the
Oh,
Hobbit,
I
not the
fucking hate
Hobbit.
that
What's
movie.
that thing
But
called?
Legend, I like. That's Ridley Scott. Labyrinth hasn't aged well. I watched that.
Oh, don't you dare!
It hasn't. It's
Labyrinth is
How about Time
timeless.
Bandits? What if they give us Time Bandits? You remember that one?
Willow. I've never seen Willow.
Those
I do
Time
remember
Bandits
Time
with a
Bandits.
bunch
I
of
like
midgets that fly around in that
that. Yep.
boat.
Yep. Or can someone give us the Back to the Future?
I believe the
trilogy or
PC
something?
term isn't midgets. I believe it's tiny. I believe it's tiny man babies.
When Time Bandits came out, it was a batch of midgets.
Yeah. That's true. That was the time.
Bandits.
So yeah.
Speaking of
Lots-
which, at the convention, what's his name? Phil Fondaroka? What's the
McCracken.
little guy
Oh yeah.
from Willow, from Ghoulies,
The
from
only little guy I know is Warwick Davis. I don't know.
no,
who
you know Phil Fondarelli, whatever. his
Phil
name is.
McCracken.
But he was there, but he had to leave early because he had to be in bed by 9 o'clock.
What
He
an
was there
asshole.
though.
Yeah.
But he was only charging half price for an autograph.
It's a waka waka type of day for a guy.
Brilliant. Oh, you know, as long as we're talking about that again, while I have the emails before me, let me shout these out. We have, we have Eldo Romero, we have Kevin Corby. These are new patrons. We have Ty B, Ty, letter B. We have Ben Grimm. We have Rob Hankins. And we have Nicholas Holmes. So, bunch of new patrons.
Hey Holmes.
Hey, Holmes, thank you.
Thanks Holmes. Take this. Thanks Holmes.
That's funny, dude, because I've been saying that all year. Oh, now, well, you know who Mahomes is, the freaking quarterback for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
My brother and my father and I, all we do is crack jokes. We watch football, and I have nicknames for everybody. So since this Mahomes became a star, my nickname for him is the Crip. And I call him, hey, it's Mahomes. Every week when I'm watching football, hey, Mahomes. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
What would Pepita say?
I don't know, that crazy dog. I hear you. But I was going to throw some things out there as far as the new things. But we have different levels and different. Some of them are just, they're not going to cover a whole show. They're just going to be a segment or whatnot. But we have a bunch of different things.
You know what? There's a ton of options out there, and I love the idea of people getting involved, not only for picking movies, but man, I loved when Christine joined us on the show. Get involved, do that. I'm surprised more people don't want to do that. I mean, we're fun to hang out with, I think. Aren't we?
Yeah, we're not intimidated.
We used
or
to
anything.
We used to. Back in season 2, we were fun.
But we have so many different options now. Like I said, the Year in Horrors one, we're talking about doing a commentary. We have a thing called Death Match where people pick a couple things and we put it to battle, whatever it is.
What's this?
Pick the topics.
What's this? The game one. This like the marry, kill.
Oh yeah. Cut, gut, or bust a nut. Yeah.
Cut. Wait, say it again to explain this one to me.
Cut, gut, or bust a nut. That's what
Okay.
it is. That was decided on the group page one day. I asked people a few months ago.
Cut, gut, or bust a nut.
Yep.
And what does that mean?
Well, if you cut someone, you're just giving them a cut. You know what I
Okay,
mean? So
okay.
that's kind of that's like the fuck. You know what I mean? Gut is kill because you're really.
Okay.
And marry, obviously, is bust a nut because you're happy about it.
Yeah.
So it's cut, gut, or bust a nut, and it's another segment, and that's what it is. Someone can pick 3 movies or franchises or whatever, and we'll get in there. We'll have a freaking discussion on it, and we'll each have our pick. We have all different things like this, little segments, full things, freaking. We have a thing where you can have us pick any franchise. You know what I mean? And a thing where you can pick 100 films from a 10-year thing, and.
I saw. The only reason I didn't get crazy over that is because I'm doing the 1,000 movie challenge. But when I saw that 100 movies, I was like, "What?"
Well, it's easy to do.
Should help you.
Honestly.
Shut up over there. That will help
No,
you get
that's
to
why
your thoughts.
That's why I didn't get crazy. I was like, normally I'd be like, "I ain't watching 100 fucking movies or a show." That's like 9 a day to prep.
Yeah, but we're not watching them. That's just it. It's almost like we don't have to watch all of them. They're probably going to be like, look at it this way. Let's say somebody picks 1980s, okay, and it's like 80 to 89. We did almost what we did when we did our 40 years of horror. We look at 1980, and we just discuss which 10 movies we decide which 10 movies we're gonna discuss. We're not gonna go into reviews and give them ratings or anything. We're just gonna say, okay, Friday the 13th. Well, we already know about that. We talk, you know what I mean? And we do each year. Just like we did that year. Like, we each picked a movie, and then we each picked like one or two shout-outs. Remember how we did that? It'll just be like that, except we'll talk a little bit more. That's all. There's a little bit more. It won't be that big a deal. It'll probably be a 3-4 hour show, sure. But whatever. It'll be fun. Whatever. And yeah, man. And the thing is, these things are limited because we can only put out so many shows a month, which is why we waited this long to get this Patreon heavy. Because we wanted to do what we wanted to do in the past. We wanted to do the franchises and the slashers, and we didn't want to become a straight patron show right off the bat when we introduced it. Now that's the theme for this year, and we'll see what happens in the future.
We're definitely not straight patron. We're bi patron.
I know you are.
As in bi patrons.
It's not that time yet. We got another review.
There you go. Exactly. Bi patrons. Sign up for us if you want to. We're on there. There's lots of things you can check out. Patreon.com/exploding heads. Get in on the action. And anybody who wants to send us a message anywhere, please do it, man. Do it on Facebook. Do it on the Patreon. Do it on whatever. Talk to us. Let us know your recommendations. Do it on Tubi. Whatever. To be continued. So, are we going to wrap it up with our final feature review?
Let's do this.
All right.
Final feature review is The Pact from 2012, directed by Nicholas McCarthy, who also wrote it. As a woman struggles to come to grips with her past in the wake of her mother's death and the disappearance of her sister, an unsettling presence emerges in her childhood home.
Another first-time watch.
Me too.
Second time watch.
Too bad B spoiled it for me on like our first or second show. But he did.
I spoiled this movie?
Yes, you spoiled the reveal. But here's the deal. It didn't end up being as big a deal as it was in the other movies where there was a similar type thing happening in it. That was like the crux of the entire film in those other movies. This was just part of it, and I didn't care that I knew that it was going to be revealed.
It was back in episode 1 or 2?
It was. I don't want to say which one it was because if you look at the movie, if one of our earlier episodes.
Oh, I know which one. Okay, I know which one. This is a better version of that movie.
I disagree, but whatever. You said that at that time as well. But I did enjoy this movie. That part was kind of, I don't want to say insignificant. That part, it can actually be explained because I don't think there was anybody in the house for a lot of it. I don't know, but that's a whole other deal. This film, I did enjoy it though. It was actually. There was some good jump scares. There was some creepy moments, and I was down with the mystery of trying to figure out what's going on here. It was kind of like The Ring, where you're uncovering something. I mean, I know that's not exactly like it is, but I like the way the film was structured. I
love the way the film was structured, and I thought it was a perfect blend of like creepy horror mystery with just a slight, well done touch of supernatural. It didn't go overboard when it went supernatural.
I liked it as well. I like the performances in this were probably the best out of all the movies that we reviewed tonight.
We got some names in here. I mean, we got some names in here who have gone on to have, careers.
Oh yeah, the first girl, right? The first girl that's in there.
Yeah, Agnes Brucker, who was the first sister who disappeared. Nicole did a bunch of stuff. Even the cousin. She went on to be a big star. I forgot what was her name.
She was in episodes.
The
show episodes. I loved her.
She was in Fantastic. Kathleen Rose Perkins, who played the cousin Liz, and the lead girl. I mean, I love her. Katie Lotz, who played Annie. Terrific. The weakest part of this is, I mean, he's an okay actor. It's Casper Van Dien as the cop.
Yeah, he's odd. He's always odd, but he still works. And the movie's great. Like this guy, the director, what was his name? Nicholas something or other.
Nicholas McCarthy.
Yeah, he actually has a grasp on creating some tension and dread and atmosphere. Just so those nice tracking shots down the hallway into the washroom. They're just amazing. And then sometimes I was like, thinking maybe they stayed a couple beats too long on like, is there something in the closet? Is there anything in the closet? But it works.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So then I'm like, you know what? No, because I actually liked it. Then he obviously meant for it to go that extra long time.
Yeah.
But it's successful. So
I think that's such great tension created when you're staring into like pitch black. I love that. And I think just the look of the house, the claustrophobic feel, that look of the wallpaper and stuff, and just, it was really well done. I really enjoyed this film a lot.
Me too, and I feel bad I didn't get a chance to give it a second watch. I wanted to, and this is when I feel I need to give it the old Dave Z second view, because I still obviously watched it and took what I took from it, but I don't know. Knowing what I know now, I think I want to go back, and not that it was an amazing twist, especially because that thing I was talking about, I knew was coming somehow in some way. And actually, that part, I wish it could have been played a different way. It wasn't cheesy, so I'm glad for that. But I think it could have been played a different way. Either way, it doesn't matter.
See, I actually love the way it was done. I think it was done very nonchalant, in almost, like it was an accident that we almost saw it, because we're following our main character when this reveal happens, and it just so happens to be, towards the climax of the film. But, whereas in other films where they have this type of reveal, it's always like overly dramatic and tends to be supernatural.
Well, this was as well.
This had, but if you notice, the supernatural elements in this film had nothing to do with the, I want to be cryptic here, with the antagonist here.
Right. It had to do with, I know.
It had to do with stuff that I could actually almost buy into existing in the real world, like spirits that haven't been put to rest yet.
So are we not going to spoil this? Like, I can maybe dance around it. So all the supernatural shit that's sort of happening to her, am I wrong in saying it's not their? Well, I guess. Fuck, I can't really
You can say that they're victims, can't you?
Yeah, it's
they're there to help.
Exactly. All the supernatural stuff is occurring. The big reveal is that it's to help her.
I know. So I feel like hopefully
her.
That's not like I guess it's a spoiler in its sense, but it shouldn't ruin the movie for anybody.
Yeah.
No.
And if it did, then I apologize.
Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler in that way. We're not
and
saying.
Look, you get a lot of stuff that you've seen. Like, again, I'll talk about. We've seen stuff before. Who's that behind you? Pictures falling, creaking sounds, but it's done so well that the tension is just really there from start to finish.
Yes,
and the performances are strong, and you know what? I obviously had seen it before, so I knew what was going to happen, but I was watching it with my dad, and my dad's like, oh, I know what's going on, and he would shoot out a theory that sounded like a decent theory, but was completely wrong, which actually made me enjoy the film more, because he was coming up with all these ideas that it could have been, and he was being thrown off.
Well, there's a couple of things that interest me too. Now I'm more interested in seeing The Prodigy now this year. That came in Wayne already. Because he directed that.
He directed that, and he directed At the Devil's Door from a few years back, which I remember liking as well. But I haven't seen The Prodigy yet either.
The worst thing about this movie is the cover art. It's a really shoddy cover art for the movie.
It turned me off for years. It was on Netflix sitting there. I never watched it.
Yeah, Brandon, you don't seem to agree. I just found it very generic and very.
Yeah.
It looks like Freddy in the remake coming out of the wall.
Thank you. You read my yes, 100%. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, I'm kind of different. You know what it is? It's been years since I watched it the first time. I probably saw it the first time like maybe 2 years after it came out. I rented it. And it's just weird that the movie stuck with me, because once I really started watching, and I just remembered a lot that was going on. And I remembered certain parts of it. And I have a terrible memory. And I even remember the sequel, which is nowhere near as good.
Well, I was going to make a comment about that. I didn't realize until obviously researching this that it had a sequel that came 2 years later. So this must have been moderately successful enough to drive an in-name sequel only. But there are some returning actors.
Our lead character does return in a smaller role, but it's it's nowhere near as effective as the first story.
I'm a little curious to see where they could go with it in the second story. Just for curiosity's sake, I think I almost want to see it. Even I haven't heard many good things about it, so I'm not anticipating anything. My expectations would be low, so I just might check it out. I might watch this again, then watch the second one, just because I'm curious, But I did enjoy this.
This is a hidden gem. This is a perfect movie to be on your next solo cast, Brandon. And I'm not trying to make a joke here about hidden gems, because when we talk about, the ABC's of hidden horror or Brandon's solo cast of hidden gems, and this would be one that I would think would make it on the list. Because you're right. I never heard about it before, and it was the standout of the movies that we watched. Well directed and well performed, and tension and atmosphere.
I agree. It is the standout, and the funny thing is, I feel like I have the least to say about it. Does that seem weird?
You know what?
I enjoyed it the most.
With all three of these films, they all had similar running times, and that they were short. And this one was played very straightforward. I mean, she's there. She's dealing with cleaning up the house after the mother's death, and she talks about having a bad childhood, so you don't know what's going on when it turns supernatural. Is it her mother haunting the house? Is it something else that's going on? There's weird pictures she's finding with other people, and she's having to do research, and she's having these nightmares, and it's really interesting stuff. But it's stuff we've seen before, but like I said, it's just done well. Even when Casper Van Dien's character is taking pictures, and he's seeing the spirits pointing in certain directions in the pictures, I really enjoyed that, because I'm not usually a lover of overly supernatural ghostly stuff, but I thought it was done really well and really subtle.
No, agreed, and that there's that whole sequence that is very very tense and pretty scary with the clairvoyant. I don't know if she's a clairvoyant, but that woman that comes in with the husband.
Call her that.
Yeah, and really well done in it. But she just wants answers, but the husband pretty much assaults her.
Yeah, smacks her.
And then she beats on him to try to get answers, but they take off. And then of course they correspond later just to some more answers. And it's a good. I think that's what propels it into the third act. I believe that's kind of what does that. But enough successful sequences like this. And again, I would rather not spoil anything more. And I feel like maybe my reveal earlier might be too spoilery, because I think it is a reveal in the film. But hopefully people won't hold it against me. They'll still check it out and see that there's much more to the movie than that.
There is, especially with people disappearing so quickly, that you start to think what's going on? Is there a conspiracy theory here? Is somebody up to no good? And then you get the supernatural. You're like, how is this tie in? What happened to this character? It's just, I thought it was just really well done. And the sequence with Stevie, the friend from high school who's a medium or whatever, a clairvoyant, that whole scene, very tense and really creepy, because what happens to her in that sequence is almost it's a huge clue.
Yeah.
And I love stuff like that, especially when the reveal happens and the way the reveal happens and the ultimate conclusion. I like it. I like that they presented certain characters in a certain way and didn't have them like they're presented in other ways. Hence, the movie you're thinking of, Dave.
Right. No, I hear you. I know you weren't a fan of the way that.
And I still owe that movie a rewatch. I know.
Yeah, you should.
I really do. I don't, because I don't hate the movie, and I know it's getting a sequel, and I will see the sequel.
What the frick movie are you talking about? Can we not
look at her? Look at her. Don't mention it. Look at her top.
Yeah.
Look at her first 10 shows. You'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see.
Know instantly.
Cece Peniston, Cece DeVille. Anyway, I want to ask you guys something about that girl at first. Remember when they went to? Did she seem like she was a junkie or something? Did they go to a play? Remember she was sitting in a chair, the one that we're calling the clairvoyant or whatever. She was like sitting down in a chair and she didn't get up. And when she did get up, she seemed real frail, and the guy carried over. I thought that initially, when the girl went looking for her, that it was like a crack house or something, because people were like sitting there partying and like playing video games. Did it seem weird to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the husband, the boyfriend, whatever, but there's definitely like shady stuff going on there. But I think her look and her sitting there like that is more of the fact that she has no color because she never leaves the house, and she's kind of tormented because she's kind of like attached to the spirit world. Yeah, like the power is like almost like you can't control it. Like the only way to like get away from it is she's like basically hiding in a dark corner, sitting there talking to herself, probably trying to drown out all the spirits that are trying to like contact her or whatever.
It was just odd because she seemed so abnormal and like antisocial at first, and then she came to the house and we saw her power, what she was capable of, and then later on when our lead called, I forget what our lead's name is, Annie, and when Annie calls her on the phone, it's like two regular women talking on the phone. There was like completely normal conversation. Like that character, the clairvoyant, whatever her name is, it's weird the way she progresses. She starts off like looking like a junkie, and then she shows her powers or her abilities, I should say. And then later on, she's like normal when they're talking on the phone. It was just
I thought she was
weird.
I thought she was calmer, when she was talking on the phone later on. But I think it was just the chaos of the scene, the first scene, that made you maybe look at her differently. Because I didn't think she looked any different. She still had the pale look to her. Mm-hmm. But, she was much more calm talking about that situation because she understood it. Annie was the one who was, like, not really understanding what was going on. She was like, oh, no, it's this, not this.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I thought it was going to be a different type of character, and then it went.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not complaining. It was just an observation.
Yeah, and they said they knew each other from high school and stuff. So she was probably tormented in high school and stuff, an outcast and stuff like that. So I felt like where the character was made sense given what she could do and where somebody like that would be as they got older dealing with something like that.
I could see that. You know what I really dug is that thing with the phone, the location and all that stuff, and then like the picture thing.
Yeah.
And that picture, that situation that occurred was scary. And I was like sitting there, and I had a feeling it was going to go in that direction. I'm watching it, and I'm saying, don't do it. Because I knew it was going to be scary when it happened, and it was, and it worked, and it was cool. Like some things just rub me wrong, or rub me right because they scare me. I'm like, oh, shit, that was good. It worked, And there was genuine scares. The dreams were scary.
Yeah.
That scene in particular was scary with the picture and what they're uncovering. And I don't know.
It's not a violent film, but
No.
there happens to be a kill in the film that it's almost like a jump scare kill. It's quite shocking because it happens so fast, and you're like, whoa, and it's really well done. It's pretty bloody.
It was an unexpected kill, and the way that it happened was something.
But it made perfect sense, and it all came together in a nice, tight little package.
And that's it. Without
Indeed.
without like being a cheap ending or a traditional cop out ending. Without it doing that, is where I'm going with it.
Yeah, it didn't give you that. It didn't give you that last, the saga continues. It wrapped up.
And I was just checking something while you guys were chatting there. The budget was only $400,000. So
Wow.
not ultra low budget, but low budget in the big sense of motion pictures, and it grossed over $7.5 million, which is why a sequel was produced.
Did this play at theaters?
It must have with that kind of
Right?
I just had it up.
How could it not have with that money? Right. Yeah. Or maybe I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember it coming out. Maybe that was just. Well, this is kind of pre-Netflix. Well,
I remember hearing about it. I remember hearing the title come up like just on Facebook or whatever, and different social media, and not thinking much of it. Just like a movie like Pontypool. You know what I mean? I just heard the title, and didn't know. And then I don't know. And then it showed up on Netflix, and then like I didn't like the way it looked, the picture, the cover art. So I didn't know.
Video on demand. Like it was at a couple film Sundance, Dallas International Film Festival, and then went to video on demand in May 2012.
Wow.
It played at the After Dark Festival in Toronto here. Limited release in the U.S. July 6, 2012.
Made no money. Limited release for. Yeah.
So it's all just Blu-ray and. Because this was still VOD. This was probably before the craze of Netflix, right? Of streaming Netflix. But definitely in...
And that's probably how I
DVD
first saw it, because I still do the discs in the mail from Netflix.
Yeah, I do occasionally when I need to.
I didn't even know they still did that. We don't even have it in Canada.
Yeah, I've done 3 at a time since the beginning, and I still do it. And people are like, you still get discs in the mail? I have Storm Warning sitting on disc, ready to watch.
Well, that's why, because a lot of time that's your only option.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah.
it used to be a lot more. I'll tell you what, since the streaming, the discs have gone way down. I mainly use it for new releases, but this was probably... It's interesting you talk about Hidden Gem, because this was the film that I probably rented on Netflix like a year or two after, it was released. And, like I saw it and I really liked it, and it didn't dawn on me. It almost reminds me of like a film like The Calling, which didn't you guys cover on ABC?
Yeah, that was a good one. I never heard of it.
Another film that I've seen, I love, and I never bring up, and it doesn't dawn on me to bring it up that other people might not have heard of it, because it's such a good film.
It is a good film.
Well, and some people could mistake it. There's a little bit of genericness. You brought it up a little earlier, Brandon. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. There's some stuff that we've seen here before. You've said it. But for how it's presented in a tight package, like you said, is why this stands out.
Yeah, and you know what, the interesting thing is, like the film that I'm saying it's a better version of that Dave's disagreeing with is a film that came out after this one. So, in a way, this did that first. But, I'm sure there are films before this, I can't think right now off the top of my head, that have done everything you see in this movie before. But it's just all done really well, and a good cast of characters, and the tension is the key to this film. That's the number one key. If there's no tension in this film, if you're not buying it, if you're not buying the tension with the house and the way the shots are, and you talk about them lingering, maybe a beat too long, but it works. If you're not on board with that and you're just like, this is boring, looking at a door, or hearing the sounds of a picture frame, or hearing the sounds of breathing, and it's not affecting you in an unsettling way, then you're probably going to find this just to be a boring, generic film.
And it's funny that if you look at IMDb and the reviews on there, the reviews are kind of split that way. There are people that see the movie the way that we're describing it, and it's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's an above average recommended flick, and well above average. Sorry, but there's some people who are giving it ones or whatever out of 10, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not in that realm whatsoever.
No, I can't even imagine that for a movie like this. Sometimes you see people give ones because they're angry at the film. This is the type of film I can't see someone getting angry about. I guess if you don't, dig it, I can see that. But I mean, I don't know. That's like anger, a one. This isn't the type of movie that I can see inciting anger for any particular reason. And you know what? What you said about those other films, this was first.
Yeah.
This did do it first, and yeah. I'll give it. I mean, maybe it had been done before, but
yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure it's been done in previous decades and stuff, but just, I mean, every aspect of it, the mystery aspect, the supernatural aspect, the haunting aspect, it has multiple subgenres melded together really well, and one doesn't dominate the other, and they all play out smart in a way that you can understand. Unlike, like when we talked about Bloody Ballet earlier, how we were just like totally baffled by the ending, even though we enjoyed the film and we gave it positive reviews. This one, it all makes sense in the end.
True. And this is the movie that I think is best watched by yourself and with nothing to disturb you. No distraction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this one I really enjoy, and my dad actually enjoyed it more. He actually gives it a higher rating than I do, which I'll mention when we review it, because we were talking about it today in the car ride back from Pennsylvania because we watched it last night, and then this morning he was like, we're talking, and he brought this up. He's like, man, that movie was really good. He was talking about the atmosphere and the tension. He's like, that really, really unsettled me. And, he likes horror movies, but he doesn't usually speak that highly of them. So he really enjoyed this one. He said this is one of the better ones I've seen in a long time.
Oh, that's great to hear, too.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Well, what did he give it?
He gave it, he said if he was doing it on the show, he said give it an 8.5 to 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'll just
He's not on the show.
Yeah. You're off the show, Dad. And I'll say right now, it's a solid 8.25 for me. It really, it could go up again. I mean, I don't know, but I'll go 8.25. It's really enjoyable. I love it.
I'll go 7.5, and a second view might change that. It might go higher, but that 7.5 is where I'm at right now. I dug it.
And I was a 7.75, and again, I, like Dave, only watched it once as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it requires a second.
That's what I'm like. I'm not sure, because an 8 is great, as we keep saying, and I want to say this was way better than I was expecting it to be, way better than that cover art was making me think it was going to be.
And man, some attractive women in this film. Just
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Oh, the Casper is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And they got these 3 slab-looking women.
Yeah, I don't even know what your type is anymore.
You know what?
I need more chin.
I'm good. I need more chin. I don't even know what my type is anymore.
Bald chinian.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
well, thank you, Pete.
Yeah,
This
thanks,
was
Pete.
a good pick. I was happy to see this one pop up. I was looking forward to rewatching this one.
That's what I love about the Patreon. I may never have watched this movie.
Yeah, you know what? I can't complain. Our patrons have been knocking it out of the park. Even if I don't love a film, they're not intentionally giving us shit, because that's one thing I hate doing is reviewing a shit movie, because it's like you got nothing to say when it's really bad.
No, and like I said, Bloody Ballet was I didn't even know that came out. I'm actually upset that I didn't get to see it last year.
Yeah.
For the year-end show. Not that my rating would have, but maybe I would have watched it again to give it the 2 views.
Yeah,
So,
and I came up on all these films from first view. Even Bloody Ballet, I think I probably gave it like a 6 the first time, and I came up almost a full point, even though I said I could go up another full point if it made sense in the end. This one, I definitely probably came up from probably around a 7.5. And like I said, Body Melt also like 5 to 6. So everything went up in terms of enjoyment factor. And I like that, because I'd much rather review a film with something to say than,
well, no one really, like, it might be a fun episode to listen to if we all just hated a movie. Like if we all just decided to watch Death House, which admittedly, I don't know if I said it on the show, but I know I think I said it in a text back to Jason Smith, but I rated that way too high. I think I gave it a 3. If there's a movie that deserves a 1, Death House would be a movie that deserves a 1.
that to me screams commentary. Shit movies seem like they're good for commentaries.
I hope someone gives us a commentary.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't care what they pick either. Hopefully it's something I've seen before, or we've seen before, I should say, because it's easier to do it. Because if you do a commentary and nobody's seen it, you're just watching the movie. You're not talking much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's best when it's something you're familiar with. And
We should do that. Let somebody pay us for a commentary, and then we just watch the movie. We don't say a word. And then at the end, we say thank you to the person's name.
I like this part. That was effective.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, so there's a word of advice. If anybody wants to give us a commentary, because it is one of the options out there, I think you're best suited to ask us if we've seen it, just for your sake. You know what I mean? To get your money's worth, quite frankly. You know, because we don't want to do that, and then we're watching the movie and not talking over it. And, you know, if you can't joke about it, if we've never seen it. Although Death House, it might be so bad. Because I've never seen it. I never want to see it. You'd have to pay me to watch that. But, I mean, that I could, from what I hear, it's so horrifically bad that we could just tear it apart the whole time anyway. So, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I knew that it was going to be a piece of shit when I first heard about it, and not a lot of people knew it. But I don't know. I knew it right away.
I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt because I talked to the damn director on when I was on Postmortem Radio, and I, but even when I got off there, I still said, I remember I turned to Oz, and I said,
Return to Oz.
I turned to Oz. I turned to Oz.
Was Veruza there?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man, I'm so mad I didn't see her. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, I turned to Oz and I said,
okay.
Well, he seems a little, like, pricky.
Oh, really? Now I don't feel bad about
no, like, afterwards, I just said that I thought he looked, he just seemed like he was really, had a chip on his shoulder, like he was really defending the movie almost too much, that I was like, something's got to be, like.
What did you think about the director, though?
That was the director.
I know. I was trying to make a joke that you were talking about Oz.
Oh. That was Brandon Oz. So.
Oh, that's great. Now Oz is talking about that other movie that I may have had a decent feeling about, but as soon as I heard, because what's her name, Debbie Sue Voorhees is doing that thing, 13, whatever it is, the film.
Fan 13 or 13 fan or whatever.
13 fanboys, right?
There you go. As soon as I heard that the soundtrack is being done by First Jason, by Ari Lehman's group, I'm immediately saying this movie's going to be a piece of shit. That's all I need. Anyone that would make that decision, because if you listen to any of his music, anyone that would sit down and make the conscious decision to have that person score your film or use that music in any way, shape, or form, you're making a big, bad mistake. So if you're telling me that's going to be, if you're going to make a blunder that big, then I don't have faith in the rest of the film. So once again, I'm going to say that that's going to be a bomb too. Maybe not Death House bomb, because there's going to be, some of the people in it. Who knows? Because you still got the Friday the 13th gimmick. So maybe it'll end up being like a 4 out of 10. But I just...
He's rating it. It hasn't even been fully funded yet. He's rating it.
That's right.
They haven't written the script.
For 13 fanboys.
Yeah.
No,
that's
but
what I do. That should be a Patreon challenge. I want someone... I should put it up there. Put the thing up and have Dave Z rate the film just by the cover art and the information without ever watching it. And then if I'm on or off by a point, then if I'm off, I'll refund you the money, because that's how confident I am in my skills.
So you would have been off with the Pact?
I would have been.
But hold on now. That's just judging by the cover. There's more to it than just that. I also have to go to the B. I have to look at the reviews, the headers. I have a method.
Okay. So
you know what I mean? I got to use the whole method, not just the picture.
Okay.
But I'm good, though. I'm telling you, man. I keep telling people. No one ever does it, but message me on Facebook.
I'll tell you what. I'm doing it this year with 2019 horror. Like I said, 8 films in almost 3 months. That's crazy. Like, where are these films?
Well, dude, it's a slow start every year. Haven't you noticed
this
the
is
last
an
3 years?
extremely slow start. I feel like at least I would be at like 30 by now. Especially watching as many movies as I have. I just have no desire to watch anything new in terms of horror, because there just isn't anything that's appealing.
You know what the problem is? There's too much fringe horror right now.
Yeah, there is a lot of fringe.
It's a big spillover from last year, and it continues. And I think it's ultimately going to be hurting the project, hurting the product, because I'm uptight. I don't want to watch it unless I can, because of this damn show, and I want to be able to say it's a horror film that can go on my list. So, but that's me, and that might be you guys as well.
I would still, for me, talking to you in terms of films you haven't seen, I would count Piercing as a horror film. Velvet Buzzsaw, I would count as horror, but I wouldn't watch it again because I just didn't like it the first time around.
Yeah.
So, but I would check out Piercing. I would consider that horror.
Okay, that's pretty much split. What I've heard about Piercing and Velvet Buzzsaw.
Velvet Buzzsaw just isn't a great movie at all. So, but Piercing is a good enough film that I think it's worth checking out, and I'm counting it as horror.
Well, that's a long time away, and I'll tell you what, by the time we get to the freaking best of the year show, I may have only watched 30 movies. But I don't care. I'm focused on the patrons this year, and I'm focused on having fun. I really am. I'm not going to go crazy, and I mean it this year. I really don't want to watch a movie.
Dude, I've already planned it out, especially with trying to watch 1,000 movies in a year. Usually the last month and a half, I'm doing rewatches, and rewatches don't count.
Oh,
So what I'm planning on doing is actually the last couple months of the year being my 2019 watches. So I'll probably, by the time we get close to the end of the year, only have a couple dozen watches. And that's when I'll probably watch like 50 movies, hopefully that I've accrued interest in, and just, go by that. If I have to watch them more than once because I was confused or it might be my top film, then I'll rewatch it then. But I'm in no rush right now.
Dude, I listen to so many horror podcasts, and the majority of them, when they do their end of year list, I can't believe the movies they haven't watched. And I'm thinking, if these guys can do it, then why the hell can't we? You know what I mean? Granted, I can never allow myself to do that. I'll still probably end up watching 50 movies. That's fine. But you know what I mean?
I'll probably still end up with 150, but...
Oh, I'm not doing that anymore.
Hey, I did 165 last year, and I'd be honest with you, we talked about it at the year-end show. I think there were only like 10 below 5 that I had, so like it was a positive year. This year, like, I'm just not rushing to them because like we talked about, the patrons are picking the shows and we kind of have them in advance, so I'm kind of doing that, plus mixing in a lot of comedies and documentaries I'm watching.
Nice.
I'll watch like some serious documentary, and then I'll watch like a mindless comedy, and that's what's keeping me like going. Because I watched like all the whole American Pie franchise.
That's insane. I watched the first like 3.
Well, yeah, the 3 and then American Wedding. You don't touch anything else. Actually, the first 2 in American Wedding. I think.
Yeah, the first 2 in American Wedding are great, and then I watched the 4 spin-offs, and I got to admit, I enjoyed all 4 of them above average. They were mindless entertainment that were fun, and it was actually a fun franchise to go through.
Wait, part 3 though has the original cast too, does it not?
Yeah, it just doesn't have what's his name.
No, it went with him and his brother. Wasn't it his brother instead or something? I don't know. Who cares? Why the fuck are we talking about this right now?
I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. Here's what I noticed on Prime. Speaking of freaking crazy franchises that go long, those Amityville movies have popped up on Prime. It's About Time.
Yeah.
And the other one. There's like 3 or 4 that are on Prime. I'm like, how do you like that? I still can't bring myself to watch them. But they're there, and I always look at it, and then I see that the B rating is a 3.7, a 3.1. I'm like, I don't think I can do this.
It's about time, though.
Account of the first 2 for me.
And It's About Time, I think, was directed by Tony Randall, who did Hellraiser 2.
Yeah, I think that's the one. One of them is, and I think that might be the one I saved in my queue.
It's About Time?
Buddy, I don't even know.
Probably
like 5 or 6.
4 or 5, I think.
Yeah. Like I can't keep track. If
5.
4 is the Evil Escapes.
Yeah.
If somebody was to pick that franchise for us, like, I don't even know how many films are legitimately part of the franchise and how many have the title. You do?
I know. Yep. It ends at Dollhouse. The official ends at Dollhouse. And then after Dollhouse, you would have the remake, and you would have the one that came out 2 years ago, Awakenings. And I guess, for the sake of doing it, the one that just came out, the Amityville Murders, that one that just came out this past year.
Yeah. Okay.
So it would probably end up being a franchise of about 10 films.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Maybe I'm off on that number. I'm trying to think of when we got to Dollhouse, how many it was.
That sounds about right.
I would do it. I wish somebody would pony up and and do that. I would do it because that's the only way I'm going to watch them. So
at least we got to watch 1 and 2 again.
Absolutely. I'm curious. That would be one I would do. I don't want to do anything else too crazy, but it's out there. Hey, if somebody wants to do it, you know where to find us.
Yep.
Let's get the hell out of here, huh?
Let's do it. I was just reading up It's About Time. I think I remember enjoying that one. But anyway, fuck that. Fuck the American Pie franchise. Let's get the fuck out of Judge.
Well said. Well said. We'll be back next episode, number 80. I guess we can give the listeners let them know what we're doing. It's 3 Bava films, right? It's Baron Blood, right? That's one of them.
Which is perfect because I'm doing the top 10 of 1972 with 22 shots in about 6 weeks. And Baron Blood is a 72 film and a Bava film I haven't seen.
There you go. So what are the other 2? It's Baron Blood and...
Shock. And Lisa and the Devil.
So there you go, people.
And if you're watching them on, Prime or wherever you're watching them, watch Lisa and the Devil. Don't watch the House of Exorcism cut. Because there's 2 cuts. cuts to Lisa and the Devil. Watch Lisa and the Devil. That's the one thing that gets confusing with these Italian films is they have like 75 different cuts.
Yeah, they do.
But I'm looking forward to it. I've said it before many times on the show that my knowledge of Bava is lacking.
Same here. I mean, I wish I could watch Blood and Black.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that one, but
I'll get to it.
these are some good picks. Baron Blood will be a first time watch. The other two will be repeats for me, but it's been a while for them, so I'm looking forward.
It's all first watches for me. What about you, C?
I have seen Baron Blood, not
Oh, wow.
Shock or Lisa and the Devil.
All right, then. So that's it. Show 80. Guys, now you know what we're going to watch, so we'll see you. Yeah, we'll see you next
God, my
time.
cat
Whoa.
scared the shit out of me. Sorry.
I was wondering what scared you.
Fuck.
I thought it was the Michael Myers figure behind it. Like, what was that? Oh. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
And on that note, yeah.
Oh!
We're so in sync, Brandon. Dave and
Right?
No, I know. I'm watching you too. You want to be alone? I'll turn off my camera.
Yeah. No, don't.
Stop, please don't. Yeah.
Anyway, good night, everybody. Love you.
Yes, good night. Thank
Long
you,
time.
patrons. We'll see you on episode 80.
Peace out.